We can listen to Dave till our ears get sore, from West Virginia to Singapore. Miss our friends who ain't here no more. We'll see him over on the other shore. Shooters and smoking crack to recovery, long road back, got Joey Pepper and the great Cormac. Thanks for listening, come on back. Tune on into the Dopey Show if you're really high or feeling low. If you need a friend, you know where to go. Tune on into the Dopey Show.
This 5th anniversary episode of Dopey is brought to you by Aloe Recovery, located in sunny Southern California, in Malibu and Silver Lake. Aloe was created by our great friend Bob Forrest and his friends Evan, Jared, and Bob to create a place where alcoholics and addicts can be treated with compassion and connection rather than control. Everyone I know that's been there has only said great things. They have quelled about Aloe. They have quelled about their ability to take care of addicts with co-occurring mental health disorders, including SMI. They have gone nuts over how great the detox is, how comfortable it is. And of course, they have loved the amenities, from sound bath meditation to surfing, equine therapy, you name it, they've got it. If you're fucked and you're willing to go to sunny Southern California, I strongly suggest going to Aloe. The following ad contains nicotine and is intended for listeners aged 21 and older. Attention cigarette smokers. Are you looking for an alternative to smoking tobacco? Ever consider switching to vapes? Many cigarette smokers have made the switch to vaping because of the flavors and nicotine strengths available, starting at a 0 nicotine. And their brand of choice is Twist e-Liquids. Twist is an American-owned company that makes its delicious e-liquids in Los Angeles, California. Twist has won several awards for creating mouth-watering flavors, such as its best-selling lemonade, sweet treats, and dessert flavors. But Twist also produces a line of sweet tobacco flavors. Try Twist e-Liquids today and get half price. That's 50% off your first purchase with Dopey 50. DOPEY 50 is the code. Sold exclusively on daddysvapor.com. That's Dopey 50 on daddysvapor.com. If you vape, save half the fucking money and go to daddysvapor.com. We have a new coffee sponsor. It's called Brainwashed Coffee. They give 50% of all their profits to helping addicts, and I think that's the most important thing. Actually, it's the second most important thing. Their coffee is delicious. They sent me some, and I love it. I French pressed it. It is unbelievable. And as we know, coffee is a great choice for addicts. Although you can't shotgun it, you can't double fist it. All you can do is slow down and sip and sip and sip. And that's how you taste the delicate nuance of bean craft. And you won't boil your tongue. It's like life. Actually, you can't live it all at once. You got to let go and let coffee, 1 cup at a time. In the steaming hot cup, there is hope. Brainwashed is based on this belief. We've lived it. That's why 50% of everything we bring in, we bounce back out to addiction recovery, because people are complicated, but coffee isn't. Dopey Nation people, save 20% on Brainwashed Coffee with the code DOPEY20. Support these guys because they support addicts and give half of their money to addicts in recovery. It's brainwashedcoffee.com, and it is delicious. This 5-year episode of Dopey is brought to you by the good people at Sober Grid. an app that offers a solution unlike any other addiction recovery solution, where you can find, connect, and share with other people in addiction recovery. It is a free app that instantly connects you with other sober people. You are instantly connected to a global sober community in your neighborhood and around the world. You can build strong sober support networks and inspire others. Sober Grid now offers affordable 24/7 certified peer coaches to assist individuals in their recovery. Their peer coaches are trained and certified to help you get sober and stay sober. Sober Grid is an amazing opportunity to connect with people nearby. It is an opportunity to be of service and have people help you out. And best of all, it is free at sobergrid.com. They are rated the #1 app in helping addicts and alcoholics to stay sober. So check it out at sobergrid.com. And most importantly, this episode of Dopey is brought to you by listeners in the Dopey Nation through Patreon, which is basically me saying, if you love Dopey, please help me make it professionally. It's my favorite thing. And when you guys kick down to Patreon, it gets me closer to doing this full time. So go to www.patreon.com/dopeypodcast and please consider helping me out to get where I want to go with Dopey, which is more Dopey in the world also. There is also amazing Dopey gear at dopeypodcast.com. We have new stuff coming out. I can't even tell you what they're cooking up in Cincinnati, the boys at SRO Prints. So go to dopeypodcast.com for that. I still have a couple of Oy Vey hats left, although I'm almost sold out, and a couple of Dopey snapbacks left, although I'm almost sold out, and maybe 3 original Dopey beanies, or as we like to say in the Northeast, ski hats. Anyway, enough with the ads. Here it comes, the 5th anniversary show of Dopey.
Let's hit these motherfuckers with some Dopey, dude.
Hello and welcome to Dopey, a podcast about drugs and dumb shit. My name is David, and I'm with Chris.
Hello.
You can't say hello nicer than that?
Hello, everyone. My name is Chris, and I'm sitting here with your co-host, David.
Chris is worried that he sounds stupid, and it might be true, but we need to get over ourselves in order to tell stupid stories about drugs. Right, Chris?
That's right. I think everybody hates their voice when they hear it, but I have a strong reaction. I sound like a little girl, so...
He acts like a little girl, too, but that's okay. I actually really like my voice on recording or in singing or in person. I think my voice is really good. I don't have this feeling of inadequacy or insecurity around my voice.
Around your voice? No,
I have it around everything else, just not my voice. Hello and welcome to Dopey,
the podcast about drugs and dumb shit.
It sounds horrible when you say it.
That's why I want you to say it.
Why can't we say Dopey, the addiction podcast about nonsense?
Sure, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
I like that one.
Dopey, the dumbest podcast you could ever hear with the 2 biggest idiots you'll ever find, especially Chris.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
You don't have to add your jab constantly. Just
welcome
non-stop.
to Dopey, Chris's dumb podcast. Hello, and welcome to Dopey, the podcast about addiction and other dumb shit. My name is Dave.
And my name is Chris.
And here we are in the scenic Lower East Side of Manhattan. Hello, and welcome back to Dopey, the podcast about drugs, addiction, and dumb shit. I'm Dave.
And I'm Chris.
And we haven't recorded Dopey in a long time.
No, are you sure they're not going to hear the trucks and stuff outside?
Maybe they will. I don't care.
You need your nicotine.
Yeah, I'm smoking a cigarette on Dopey.
Dave is a heathen. He's smoking a cigarette in the middle of his room, and all he does is open the sliding door where the wind blows in.
But then there's a window in the kitchen where the wind blows out. Hello and welcome to Dopey, the podcast about drugs.
No. Let's do it again.
Hello.
Enthusiasm. Yeah.
No, I like to.
Dude, hello.
That's how Chris answers the phone. Do that thing.
What? Hello.
It's so annoying.
That's weird.
He answers the.
Hello and welcome to Dopey, the podcast about drugs, addiction, and dumb shit. And I'm Dave.
I'm Chris. Hello and welcome to Dopey, the podcast about drugs, addiction, and dumb shit. My name is Dave.
Dopey, it's retarded. Hello and welcome to Dopey, the podcast about drugs, addiction, and Vietnamese food. Welcome to Dopey, the podcast about
drugs, addiction, and dumb shit.
The podcast about Kenny Rogers. Welcome to Ice Cream, the podcast about ice cream flavors.
Yeah.
No? Hello and welcome to Dopey, the podcast about anger and sadness and lonely spaces. Homeless on the dark comedy of homelessness.
So hello and welcome to Dopey, the podcast on drugs, addiction, and dumb shit. And welcome to the 5th anniversary show of Dopey. And who would I have with me except my favorite person in the world, the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, and brilliant, my beautiful partner, Linda. Welcome back to the show.
Can you put the microphone back in the stand because you're holding it like you're a
I'm the game show
host, and I'm not going to sit here if you do that.
I need to do that. It's going to be weird.
Really awkward.
It's going to be weird like this. Hello.
You're going to have to hold it like that the whole time?
Yeah, I'm going to hold it. I'm more comfortable holding it because I know it'll be close to my voice.
Okay,
I don't have to worry about it. I'll put it on the stand
Sure
only if somebody calls in. How do you feel about being on the... So where are you from? Where's your family from?
Please. No, this is really cool to be on the show for the Big 5.
You feel excited about it?
Of course. I'm so proud of you, and it's amazing.
And you have become quite the part of the Dopey Nation yourself. Maybe unwillingly, but it's happened.
I mean, listen, it's a big part of my life too, this Dopey.
Well, you wear Dopey shirts like 4 days a week.
Look at.
She wears Dopey shirts 4 days a week.
I put on my Dopey tank top to be on the podcast.
It was under her thick woolen bathrobe.
Under my robe and slippers.
So, I can't say I'm very excited to do the 5th show. I've been killing myself collecting clips because as many people in the Dopey Nation know, and as you know, Linda, I'm a huge fan of television, and I grew up really enjoying clip shows. And this is going to be a big, long, stupid clip show. So it's a dream come true for me. The obvious monster or elephant in the room is that that Chris started the show with me, and he's not here, and you're here, and I'm happy that you're here. But it's a
What are you trying to say?
It's just a horrible deal. It's
right.
And I want to say this at the very beginning of the show because it really, it was. I've been listening to Dopey. I've been like slaving over a hot Dopey.
You don't usually listen. I know I'll listen to an episode and I'm like, did you hear this and this? And then Dave's like, well, I don't like listening to them. You don't know. I don't know if you don't want to hear your voice or you'll feel too critical. But I feel like since you've been putting this together, you're listening to a lot of. Dave was listening to an interview last night that he was going to put a piece of, I think, on this episode. And he was sitting there and he was like bugging out because he's like, I think I'm talking too much. Meanwhile, this was an interview you did like a year ago.
I think a year and a half.
And a half ago. And I'm like, just don't put yourself through it.
Well, the point is, I was listening to the Michael Imperioli episode and I had this crazy dream about him. I had a dream that Michael Imperioli was dressed as a police officer and he killed me.
Oh, he was in the dream last
night? He
night?
was the person that killed me in the dream. And I think me getting killed in the dream has to do with Chris as well, because the thing that occurred to me when I was listening to the show, and I listened to a lot of the show. Sam listened to a ton of the show for this.
Right.
Ray listened to a bunch of the show. And the thing that occurs to me, which is an amazing thing, is that in the show, if you listen to Dopey, Chris is alive. Chris is alive and well for the most part and young.
That has to be very weird to be listening to Chris like you're hanging out with him again.
It's very weird. It's like, but it's also like, it's very exciting, but it's also like very sad. Right. You know what I mean? But I'm very proud that we captured him in here, and I'm very moved at the number of people that Chris affected. And I know that I affected a lot of people too, but I'm still alive and whatever. And Chris is not. And, you know, I think that I remember when his sponsor read his eulogy, Chris said somewhere that he wanted to have a legacy where he helped people.
Yeah.
And now he got to have that.
That's
so
right.
that is something.
Listen, I always do these pretty heated episodes with you, like the sort of
The emotionally
the
heavy
very
episodes.
emotionally heavy episodes. He's like, you're a
Todd.
social worker. Come on this episode. No, but remember Todd and we remember. I mean, listen, trust me, I'm. It's an honor, and I love to do these episodes with you. But they're tricky because. You know, and Dave and I always talk about this, and we've even talked about it during those episodes. This is, you know, a podcast about drugs, addiction, and dumb shit. And Dave sometimes doesn't know how much it should just always be fun and always be funny and always be joking. But then, you know, like we've said before, the real, you know, hard shit has gone down and loved ones have been lost and the co-creator has passed. So you have to kind of talk about these moments, and they're not always going to be fun. But I feel like Dave and I always I just feel like we had one of those moments just now where we kind of looked at each other, and Dave's like, you know, is this getting too serious look in his face? And it's like, it's okay.
Well, it's going to
happen.
Well, this episode will be
life.
It's
right?
an emotional roller coaster because,
Right.
you know, we obviously lost Chris. You know, one of our greatest friends died.
Mm-hmm.
Todd died. Colleen just died. That kid William died. Andrew died. Dave died. It's
Yeah.
it is like a body count from this show, and it's really just a body count from addiction.
That's right.
And before we get into it, I want to first celebrate the fact that Andrew G had a baby,
Yes.
so that's a positive thing. And
Beautiful.
and then this dude Nat, who has a podcast called Recovery in the Middle Ages, who has bought ads on Dopey and is helping out with potential Dopey marketing ventures, just celebrated 3 years of recovery on Monday, and he said he wanted me to mention it, so I'm mentioning
That's
it.
awesome. I love on Dopey Nation. I look at Dopey Nation, I scroll through it, you know, every other day or whatever, and I just love like reading everybody's sobriety announcements. I love the sobriety posts.
Well, it becomes
You know?
like a nice community.
Somebody said, I haven't smoked weed in 5 days. And like 50 people are like, yeah. And it's the coolest thing. It like brightens my day. Or I've had a year. I have a week. I have, 5 years. And people are so freaking supportive that I just love that too. You know, I think that's such an exciting.
You have to sit closer.
Oh boy. How's that?
Should
I hold my microphone?
Yeah,
like I'm
I think you should. We should be like Sonny and Cher, and you should hold your mic. They say we're young and we don't know. Let's get into the show.
Okay.
We got
Enough
a lot.
of us.
We got a
Jeez.
lot.
Jeez
Oh yeah.
Louise.
In other Dopey news, I was on 3 podcasts this week.
Wow, hot stuff.
But dude, Lynn, they're all video podcasts.
Oh no.
And in
tell it.
In the first one, I was on.
People know what I have to deal with.
I was on with
this end?
with YouTuber Jen Cutting, and I had the long, disgusting beard. You know what I mean? Where it was all like.
Are you asking me if I know?
Where I was the
Because I have to
rabbinical
sleep next to it every night.
the rabbinical sea captain with dandruffy pubic white hair on my face.
Yeah, I know.
So that was Jen Cuttings, and then I shaved it off for the DJ Fat Tony interview.
Right.
But
You wanted to look all like.
I want to look better.
All slick.
I want to look better. So I shaved it off. And then for the Sober is Dope podcast, I didn't know he was recording video. So my hair was like standing on end and I'm in a bathrobe.
Oh, no.
And it's on YouTube. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
You didn't know that?
I didn't think
Until
he was.
you saw it on YouTube after the
I just
fact?
see my big
Stop.
fat face. He had a still of my big fat face, and I look like
no.
either Randy Quaid or Artie Lange, like all bad. And
But tell them how when you shaved your beard for DJ Fat Tony, you shaved it like you missed parts of
it was
your-
very patchy.
There was patchy
Straggly parts.
So some parts of hair were hanging over his lip.
It still is,
Like,
isn't it?
from the mustache part.
Luckily,
or
Linda
other
can barely
parts.
see. That's the positive.
Well, I haven't been wearing my glasses just so I don't have to see his patchiness.
Now, when I say Linda is very beautiful, I mean it. Linda's incredibly beautiful, and but she I think she has bad vision because I don't bathe for weeks at a time. I don't fucking wash my hair.
What does it have to do with how I look?
I don't, because you'd think you'd want to be with somebody who's slicker than me, and I don't maintain. I wear pajamas.
Do you
literally.
See what are you looking at?
But you're very glamorous. But I'm like this fucking homeless person living in the house, and you don't even notice when I clean up. Maybe you're blind. Maybe you can't see or smell. Right? What is it? Why don't you care? Because you look at the inner beauty.
I look at the inner beauty. Yeah, that's exactly right.
All right, let's get to business here. That's very nice. Oh, why don't you tell the Dopey Nation about Christmas?
What do you mean about Christmas? That's a huge part of Christmas.
Well, about the great gifts that you got. The Dopey Nation wanted to know if you liked the robot vacuum cleaner, the new garbage can.
Christmas. It was the worst Christmas I've ever. Dave gave me the worst gifts this year. Why would you bring this up?
I think it's funny.
It's not funny.
What about the necklace? You love the necklace.
Dave, these were the two main gifts I got. Okay, a garbage can. And a robot vacuum cleaner that the circular robot Roomba that goes around. First of all, that's not going to work on our house because we have half wood floor, half rugs.
Roomba can handle that.
I don't think it's going to work. And I found that to be mildly offensive. It was implying that I don't do the fucking chores around the house.
That's what the Dopey Nation thought.
Yeah, well, it's true.
What about the garbage can?
The garbage can is because at one point Dave was too cheap when we went to Home Depot, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, I'd love that." What's it called? That metal? It was a
chrome.
Chrome. It's just a cool garbage can. Whatever.
We were at Lowe's.
I'm like, or at Lowe's. I'm like, "Oh, I'd like that." And Dave's like, "No, it's too much money. Ours is fine." So it was almost because he was cheap in that moment, I got it for Christmas.
Well, what about the Simpsons thing?
Oh, have you told that? So that was another bummer because it was my big gift was I don't know if you guys saw on Facebook in the feed. There's all these you could Simpsonize a picture. So you could send them your picture, and then they'll make your family look like Simpsons characters, or make anybody look like Simpsons characters. And you can do the feature of them sitting on the couch with the what's the picture crooked.
You can get him on the couch, you can get him by the house, you can do whatever you want.
Typical Simpsons opening scene from the opening scene of the actual show. Anyway, but there was then there was rip-off sites of doing the Simpsons, so that it looks a little different. So I wound up sending a picture of our family, and I got our family done from the actual Simpsons one, and I was very excited. It was my main gift. It was very expensive. And so we're all sitting around, and me and Nora are so excited for Dave to open it. And in mine, Dave's wearing a Yankee cap and has a little bit of a mustache and a goatee. Nora looks normal.
I have the beard.
Her beard. Nora looks normal with her glasses and her, whatever. Susie's sitting on Dave's lap. We all look pretty much how we do. So,
but first, I gave you a present.
So then it's my turn to open one of my only other present besides the garbage can. And
you got jewelry plus cash and prizes.
And the vacuum.
And
so I opened my gift, and Dave had did the exact same thing at one of the ghetto
It was very.
Sites.
It was Turn Me Yellow. I'm gonna even.
There was the Turn Me Yellow.
I did Turn Me Yellow.
So all of a sudden, I open it, and it's our whole family again sitting on the same couch, but we're like a bunch of fucking freaks.
I look good in mine.
I'm wearing.
I look like Luke Perry in
I'm wearing this weird beanie hat that
she's wearing like a witch hat, like a Smurf, a black Smurf dwarf hat. I'll post a picture.
No, poor Nora. Yeah, Dave has supposed. Nora's wearing I don't even. Nora.
They make Nora. Nora looks like
started crying.
She looks like a dwarf office worker.
Like she's missing teeth.
She looks terrible.
Susan looks like she's a teeny bopper. going to like a JoJo Siwa.
And I look great.
And Dave looks awesome.
I look like I'm one of the cast of 90210.
I think you're wearing like Dopey gear.
No, you're wearing Dopey gear, and I'm wearing the Cats' shirt.
Yeah, so it was so that was my other gift. So that gift is it's over there in the corner. It's behind the plant, I think. So anyway, yeah, that was Christmas.
I had to share that, but and we're like,
Dave is going to definitely post the two of them back to back because it's.
But this is not. This
It's
is
ridiculous.
We're supposed to be doing a show about the greatness of Dopey, but I just thought that Christmas stuff was good. Too good not to share.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just jump right in. There's a dude named James from England who I talk to often. Huge fan of the show. And he sent in a voicemail. A couple people sent in voicemails. But we're not using the Dopey Nation voicemails today. It's just not going to happen.
I want to hear James.
All right.
James.
All right.
I heard that James has a very mysterious voice.
He does. Here's James.
Hello, Dave. Hello, Dopey Nation. Congratulations on 5 years. Wonderful. I've been with you for the past 3. But for my favourite Dopey, I'm going to take you back to the early days of Dave's apartment on the Lower East Side. The clip I've chosen really is for me, is always the heart of the show. A conversation between 2 friends over a table into a laptop. Stay strong, Dopey Nation, and toodles for Chris.
Do you need me to translate that for you?
Yes.
He said he likes hearing 2 friends. It's the heart of the show, hearing 2 friends talk into a laptop. He picked a thing I didn't even remember. I'm so psyched for it. It is from the early days. I think it's from the 16th episode.
Wow.
We're going to call it Legal Seafood. Hardcore Dopey fans, I hope you remember it.
There was something I wanted to say. Oh, I wanted to say that the reason I don't like donuts anymore is because I was tripping once in Ithaca, and somebody went and got donuts, and I ate too many tripping, and I don't eat donuts anymore.
Really? That you got an aversion?
Yeah.
That's what I ordered. The second time I took mushrooms, I went out to eat, and we got a Caesar salad and clam chowder, and I ordered it, and we ate the mushrooms right before we went to the restaurant, and they started to kick in before the food came, and I was with this girl, like my high school girlfriend, and she was like...
Where was she from?
She was from...
Gloucester?
No, she was from somewhere in the North Shore.
North Shore of where?
Of Boston.
Did she say chowder?
No, she didn't have an accent. No one had accent. There's not as many people that have accents as they...
Do you know anyone from Gloucester that says chowder?
I don't know anyone from Gloucester.
Do you know anyone that says chowder?
Yes.
Who?
Sully.
And what does he say? Sully from what?
Sully from Boston. That's a running joke in California. If you say you're from Boston, they'll say, "Oh, do you know Sully?"
Who's Sully?
Because there's a billion Sullys. Sullivan.
They call themselves Sully.
I know 7 Sullys.
You do? Do they say chowder?
Probably, some of them.
Are any from Gloucester?
Shut up.
No, I like this.
So we order the food, and
just do me a favor. Can you order?
Anyways, I got an aversion like you and
chowder.
blah blah blah.
Can you just do me a favor?
Sucks.
Can you just do me a favor?
What?
Can you, just for my sake?
No, I'm not going to do any sort of accent.
Just one thing.
Never.
Just one thing.
Does it require changing the inflection of my voice?
Just one thing.
If it requires the inflection,
just do me a favor.
Change, then no.
Chris, I've saved your life with this podcast. Can you just do me one favor?
You set me back, if anything.
Can you just please do me a favor?
Oh, yes.
I want you to pretend you're Sully from Boston or from Gloucester, and you need some clam chowder, and you're ordering some on the phone. Can you just do
I'm
that?
not going to do it. Because
chowder?
I could do it, but I'm not going to do it simply because I don't want to placate. Not placate. I don't want to appease you.
Please. I'm begging you.
Nope. I tell you what, I'll do it on the next episode.
Chris, no.
Next time.
Just go with me for a second.
Okay.
I'm not telling you. You're Sully from Gloucester.
Yeah.
And you not only want some clam chowder, you'd like some dark beer as well.
Okay.
And what else?
I'm going to do it. Wait. So you be like the restaurant guy.
Okay.
Bring.
Donnie's by the beach.
Hi, this is Sean Sullivan. Could I please get some clam chowder and a dark beer?
Come on, man.
What? There it is. You had it.
You're really not going to do
Dopey episode 20.
No. Listen, I really want you to do it once. I bet you could do it better than me.
Clam chowder.
No.
I can't.
No, I want you to be the character.
I'm not a character actor.
You really think my girlfriend's too hot for me?
I think you scored big time. I don't think she's too hot for you.
Can you do the character now?
Hey.
No. Let's do this correctly.
All right.
Give me a good.
Bring.
What's a good seaside seafood restaurant?
Legal seafood. That's like a kind of nice place that everybody gets clam chowder.
Okay, we're gonna do. This is our first sketch on Dopey.
Okay.
What's my name? Billy. I'm Billy, the seafood guy. And where is it? Legal seafood.
Legal seafood.
Right.
Bring.
Hello, this is Legal Seafood. How may I help you?
Hi, my name's Sean Sullivan.
Yeah, Sully. What can I get you?
Can I get some clam chowder?
Chris, come on, man.
That's the best I got.
You're not gonna do this?
Sean Sullivan.
All right, you be Billy. Okay. Bring.
Legal Seafoods.
Can't you do that with a Gloucester voice?
All right. Legal Seafoods.
Hey, Legal Seafood, this is Sully down in Gloucester.
You're not even good at it.
You know what I do for a living?
What?
I'm a Boston firefighter. You know what I have a hankering for?
Some clam chowder.
Nah, some Manhattan chowder and a Wicked Dog beer to wash it down.
It's not good at all.
It's not good. I think you should speak up.
It's not good.
Can you do it?
No, I can't. We've been running out the clock with this banter. It's not. Dan would be pissed.
I'm sure Dan is pissed. Dan can go. Hey,
Dan said he liked our comments about Narcotics Anonymous.
What else did Dan say? Did he say he wanted some chowder?
No, Dan's from Connecticut.
Can you please do the accent?
I can't. I really can't.
Can
I
you
don't
try?
do accents.
Well, how was my accent?
It was okay. It was better than mine.
Just do it.
Clam chowder.
No, in the sketch.
No.
Just do it in the sketch.
Can I get some clam chowder?
Yeah, let's do it again, and I'll be.
Show is
what?
Hit a wall.
No, the psychedelic story was good.
Yeah, but we're just rambling.
Here, just do the clam chowder
okay.
thing.
Bring. Hello, Legal Seafoods.
Yeah, this is Sully. You got any soup?
Yeah, we got some soup.
What kind of soup you got?
We got some clam chowder.
What do you mean chowder?
We got...
What kind? You got Manhattan chowder?
We got the red and the white.
All right, this is the worst. Listen, I wish that we could have a call-in, and we can get some real Gloucester people. What do you call someone from Gloucester?
A fisherman.
No, then like a Bostonian, a New Yorker. What's somebody from Gloucester?
Gloustonian.
Is that true?
No.
Can you say Gloucester with a Gloucester accent?
Gloucester. There's actually little dialects too, even within.
Here.
Like,
Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
Okay. Bring.
Pick up the phone now, Billy.
Nobody's answering.
No, just do it. Just do it.
Hello, Legal Seafoods.
Hey, is this Legal Seafoods?
Yes.
You got any lobster?
No.
What do you mean? I thought this was Legal Seafood. Is this Gloucester I'm calling?
We're fresh out.
You got chowder?
Chowder. You know, Legal Seafoods has their own boats in Gloucester.
Do they have Wicked Dog beer?
Maybe Sam Adams.
Okay, this bit has gone on long enough. I want to apologize to the Dopey Nation. I'm really sorry.
Still listening? If we,
I don't know. This
episode. Are we going to air it?
Yeah, we're gonna fucking hear it. Good night. I hope Mark's.
Say it.
What?
Toodles.
You don't say fucking Gloucester, chowder, or Wicked Dog beer. I'm not gonna say toodles.
And that was the beginning. I don't know how that could be the best of our show.
You're such a bully.
What do you mean?
You bullied him very much in that episode.
He should have said Gloucester, chowder, Wicked Dog beer, all that stuff.
Oh, that's good.
Everybody loves that stuff.
Really funny.
Now, Chris, obviously, the show was about drugs, addiction, and dumb shit, and mostly about drugs and addiction because me and Chris are drug addicts. And we were talking, he was saying how bad that episode was, and I was saying how good his psychedelic story was. So this was the psychedelic story he had played at the beginning.
Okay, so I buy the acid. I go home with my friend who drinks, doesn't do any other drugs. He's pretty drunk. And we start watching TV, and I took half of it. So I took 5 hits of LSD. And
The first time you took acid?
The first time, and it did end up being really strong acid. Yeah, and I wasn't in store for what happened. And
nobody's in store for SMI.
So we were watching. I remember we were watching TV. We were watching one of those like Skinamax movies, like the Cinemax.
Wow, was this one of those notorious prep school jerk off sessions?
It was not. But so we were watching it, and I remember what it was. We were watching the Blair Witch Project, which was like a knockoff of the Blair Witch Project, right? Good. And I'm watching it, and the LSD just obliterates the drunkenness. The drunkenness just goes away. LSD overpowers everything, and it starts kicking in. And I'd taken mushrooms a bunch, but I was not ready for, like, it is 2 different things, And the LSD kicks in, and I'm watching Blair Witch, and I just remember being so confused when it kicks in because, like, I remembered Blair Witch, but Blair Witch didn't have, like, people naked, like, running around and stuff. And I was, like, so confused. I was like, what is this? Like, I couldn't make sense of it, So I went upstairs, and my mind starts clicking. It's blazing, and I'm like, I gotta...
You don't think that's too much acid for your first time?
Yeah, it was. It definitely was. So I go upstairs, and I'm like... I'm going to change the world with my thoughts. I was thinking so clear. So I started journaling in my notebook, and I ended up writing 26 pages in this notebook. I remember I counted it the next day, and I'll get to what it said later on. But I wrote 26 pages in the notebook, and I did it in my bathroom, and I was just sitting in my bathroom in my boxers, and I was wearing plaid boxers, and that's it. And I'm sitting on my toilet, like not using the toilet, just writing in my journal. And I put the journal down, and this is very hard to describe and probably very difficult for people to comprehend while listening to it. So I'm going to try my best with you here. So I'm sitting on the toilet, and this is like kind of unbelievable. I've never had an experience like this with LSD except for that first time. And I'm looking at the plaid boxers, right? And you know how plaid's just like a little square with kind of lines in between it?
I'm familiar with plaid, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, you have a plaid pillow right here. So I'm looking at the squares, the overhead view, and like the lines, and I'm like, that looks like an overhead bird's eye view of a city. And so I look...
Pete Mondrian kind of thing.
Yeah, and so I'm looking at the little lines.
You know about Pete Mondrian?
No, I just said yeah. Who's Pete Mondrian?
He's a painter.
So I'm looking at the little lines in between the blocks, the blocks would be the tops of like the buildings, and the lines would be the roads. And I'm looking closely, and I see like, it looks like little like cars going up and down. I'm actually hallucinating cars, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, that's, and all of a sudden when I see the few little cars, it just spreads out, and inside my city, inside my boxers, I can just see a bird's eye view of a city with cars everywhere and stuff. And I'm like, holy shit, like, like came alive in my boxers. And so I close I'm sitting on the toilet looking at my boxers, and I close my eyes, and I lean back, and I sit down, and I lean back on the back of the toilet seat, and I open my eyes, and I'm standing on the side of the road somewhere. And whether I open my eyes or not, I don't even know, okay? And I'm standing on the side of the road, and I'm like, where the fuck am I? And there's people, I'm on the sidewalk, there's people walking by. I can't look them in the face. Their face is all blurred out. There are people walking by.
How did you get there?
Let me finish. So the people are walking by, and I'm like, where the fuck am I? I was like, am I in the city in my boxers right now? And like, there's cars like coming by on the road, and like, I can't make like perfect, like can't make people's faces and things out. And it's like kind of like almost like a computerized city.
Like
and I'm like, am I in the city in my boxers? And then I'm like, if I look up in the sky, will I see myself looking down at me? So I go look up in the sky, and I see like my hairy chest, like gradually, I see this huge looming guy in the sky, which is me. And I see this like my hairy chest, and then like I see my like collarbone and my chin, and then I make eye contact with myself, looking up from the city in my boxers. And the second I make eye contact with myself, I'm back there sitting on my toilet, and I'm like, whoa. So that's the story.
That's amazing.
It's pretty out there, right? It's pretty far out there. Oh, so the Notebook, what did it say? The 26 pages. I read it the next day, and it said, I know what it is. I know what it is. I forget. I remember. I know what it is. For 26 pages. Just over and over and over.
You know what it should have said?
What?
Severe mental illness.
That's like classic. I mean, that's a classic, crazy psychedelic story.
Right.
And
It's one of the craziest psychedelic stories I've ever heard in my life.
everybody says that. I just love. He's such an amazing storyteller.
But he's an amazing storyteller. He's a fun, engaging storyteller. But I also think that story itself is.
It's like a short story. It's like an Isaac Asimov short story or something. It's a brilliant science fiction story, psychedelic story, and I think that mixed with the stupidity of Gloucester and Chowder and all that shit was the combustion that was Dopey. Was me and Chris, like, we would tell stories, and then we would get tired and stupid, and we'd want to make silly, and we'd want to make each other laugh, and that was like in the first 16 episodes. Like, obviously the story of you not knowing about the show, and like me telling stories, and then we erased them, and then Chris just needed to tell stories. So from episode, I think 11 to 17 or something, Chris was just cranking them out, and this one was a classic, And then we started getting guests in, and you kind of eased up, and I could kind of tell some stories. And one of my all-time favorite stories to this day was my 9/11 story, and it also was like the story that created the Methadonian Brenda. Although the Methadonian wasn't named Brenda, really the woman who dispensed the methadone was named Brenda. And we had a guest, and his name was DJ, and he told a crazy story about stealing 1,000 Vicodins, and I told this 9/11 story. And of course, DJ is the guy who he sells ads for Dopey. He's the head of the Dopey sales department.
Okay.
He also was one of the recipients of a scholarship who went into Aloe shooting speedballs of crack and heroin with an abscess the size of a fucking beehive on his arm. He lands in California to get treatment. Still high, they give him a dose of Suboxone, so he goes into precipitated withdrawal. Then they see his abscess, and he has to get surgery to get the abscess lanced off in withdrawal. He went to Aloe for 6 months. Now I think he has almost 10 or 11 months clean. Head of the Dopey sales department, crazy Dopey miracle DJ. And I'm not going to play his story. I'm going to play my 9/11 story.
Back to my story.
Back to me.
It was September 11th, 2001, and I woke up in the morning, and I'm like shooting dope. I'm like finishing whatever I.
Wait, you were on methadone?
Yeah, that's why I'm kind of against methadone, because I was really very rarely just on methadone.
Okay, right.
So I would shoot dope before I would get my dose, so I could still get high.
You could feel it,
And the phone rings. And my mother is in California, and she's like, "David,
turn on the TV."
Turn on the TV. And I turn on, and I grew up in Manhattan, and so like I look at the Twin Towers falling down, and I'm just like, holy shit. And in my mind, one of my reasons for being a heroin addict was because I felt like the world was ending anyway.
Okay, I can relate to that.
There were a million things happening at that point in time, just like trends, and I was so deluded.
Y2K had just happened.
But it was also just like style, Rage Against the Machine, fucking these crusty anarchists.
That's just a very common thing. I remember I heard my grandfather used to, like, he was a binge drinker, and he would drink because, like, the Vietnam War.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's
I
like
just felt like it seemed like the world was going to end.
I thought 2012, December 21st, it was for sure going to end. I was
listening to podcasts about that from, like, fucking physicists, and, like, they were convincing me.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I just figured, no, it's fine. Yeah. So I just figured
this is a sign.
I just figured
that this was par for the course. Like I was also
You weren't phased.
I was not phased.
When it happened, though, I don't think anybody knew it was going to be as big. I mean, it was a big fucking deal to watch planes crash in a building, but it was like it changed the whole fucking world. I mean, it had a massive effect, and I don't know that anyone necessarily knew it. Maybe at that. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, but a normal person feels bad. I think I was a little excited that something was different.
Something chaotic.
Everything, my life was total chaos. Everyone else had a normal life. And I was like, ooh, this is something different. Yeah. And my mom was like, check on your sister. My parents were in California. She was like, check on your sister, check on your aunt. And I was like, I don't think so. And I think I hung up the phone, and maybe I called my sister and I called my aunt. And
you were hung up the phone and you were like, my methadone.
No, I was like, no, I wasn't even thinking about there was a problem. I was like, do. I was like, let's see. It's 8 a.m. I'm gonna go get my dose. And we'll see what I do after that. I wasn't thinking it was 9/11 in Manhattan.
Right.
I leave my apartment and I start walking down 8th Avenue.
Did things look different outside?
Dude, I'm walking down 8th Avenue like a salmon swimming upstream. There's just people, thousands of people coming up.
You're the only one going downtown.
I'm the only one going down. The streets are full of people.
Yeah. The subway stopped running.
Everything stopped running.
Everything stopped.
I'm just I'm strolling along, gonna get my methadone, on my way to get my dose, blah, 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 blah.
Regular day.
Well, I'm thinking, this is weird, but I'm thinking, this is interesting. I'm watching a waterfall or something. Anyway, my methadone clinic was on 13th Street and 7th Avenue in this church, the Presbyterian church over there.
That's where PAX used to be.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
I get to 14th Street, and I notice something's different. There's tanks on 14th Street and army troop trucks and just fucking soldiers with machine guns on 14th Street. Wow. And I'm still just like the cartoon character. You
didn't even think like that?
I was like, whoa.
Were you starting to worry a little bit then?
No, I was like, this looks serious. Yeah. But I was like, gotta get the methadone. I'm not thinking this is going to have anything to do with me. Yeah. And I get to 14th Street, and the soldier's like, where do you think you're going? And I was like, 13th Street. And he goes, do you see us here? We have guns. Everyone's going the other way. They just blew up the World Trade Center. Right. And I said, I know, sir. I need to get my methadone.
What did he say? But he would just understand, and be like, oh.
He goes, what? I said, you don't understand, sir. I got to get my methadone. And he's like, what? I go, my medicine. My clinic is on the next street, and I need to get it. Yeah. He goes, well, do you have any identification? I was like, of course I do. I pull out my methadone card. It's everywhere you want to be. You know what I mean? I was like, it's me.
And then he just lets you
and he waves me through with a machine gun. Yeah. And I get into the clinic, and it's like any other day in the clinic.
Are you serious?
Everyone's like,
look at Brenda.
My take homes.
I beat him off.
No, I think we all got take homes that day.
Oh,
because it was
they thought the world might end.
We all got take homes.
One day, or how did they give you a couple days?
I think I got more than one take home from that clinic. In California, I would get a month's worth, and I have a crazy story about that.
Yeah.
Wow. But then I'm
That's wild.
then I cross back out, and I'm like, this looks like a really bad day to waste. And I just get on the L train and I go straight to Bushwick and I call my dealer and I give him every cent. I'm like, just give me whatever. I think I bought 4 bundles and I go home and I just fucking shot dope
the rest of the day.
And that's the 9/11 story.
Wow.
So that's another crazy story.
That's pretty crazy.
But it was really obviously the spirit of Dopey is to tell crazy stories, and I think as the ball started to roll, it would go back and forth between some crazy kind of death-defying situation like that and something really silly and stupid and fun, and I think that was the recipe, Right. And the other thing that made the show great was the fact that we tried to do as many episodes in one night as we could. So if we were doing 4 episodes a night or 3 episodes a night, it would be hours and hours and hours of production. And if that happened, you kind of were guaranteed that the last one was going to be the really stupid one.
Right.
Like where you're delirious and comfortable. And that's where like some of the most classic dopey moments were born. And that's definitely where this one was born.
I want my baby back, 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 baby.
Stop it. You go, I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, back. I want my baby. You have to say back to me, I want my.
All right.
I'll tap you when you
say. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. Come on, dude.
Do you know the top part? Do you know the top part?
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back.
Just do it, man, please.
I can't fucking finish it. I'm just keep picturing there's hundreds of people listening to this.
They're not listening. There's nobody listening.
I feel like this would be like a good sleep podcast. We could just do an hour of
I just want to do the part. Just please.
All right. Last time. This is the last time. This is the last time I'm going to try, okay?
No,
I'm going to get it. I don't think I can do the top part. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, 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 baby back.
Barbecue sauce. It's not yet.
That was good. That was good enough. That was the best we're getting. We're done.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's
when you were delirious.
But the even better one, I can't not play the even better one. And which is The Lion Sleeps Tonight. It's like that might be my all-time favorite, and I'm gonna play that one. And Chris was so bad at this stuff, but he was Chris being 10 years younger than me. He would get annoyed, but he was willing to do shit like that stupid Gloucester thing, or the Chili's, or. I think this one it might be my favorite one.
Do you know The Lion Sleeps Tonight?
In the jungle.
Do you want to do the bottom part or the top part?
The lion sleeps tonight.
You want to do the bottom part?
I'm bottom. I can't do top. The top.
Do you know the bottom part?
Yeah, in the jungle.
No, it goes. Okay.
All right. I'll do that. Okay. That gave me a nice little rush last time. The baby back. I feel like it's a similar tone.
Yeah. All right.
All right. A whim away. A whim away. A whim away.
No.
What?
He goes. A whim away. A whim away. A whim away. A whim away. A whim away.
Okay. All right. I got it.
A whim away. A whim away.
Okay. A whim away. A whim away. A whim away. Okay, tell me how it goes again.
A whim away, a whim away, a whim away, a whim away.
Okay, so it'll go down. Okay.
A whim away, a whim away, a whim away, a whim away, a whim away.
Okay, but let's say I fuck it up and I just keep doing whim away.
Why don't you do the in the jungle part?
I don't know all the words. I just know in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight.
That's enough. That'll be fine.
Okay.
A whim away, 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 a whim away,
in the Hey, I'll do the whim away. I can't.
You can do the progression.
Yeah. I can't do the progression. I'm just gonna whim away.
You have to do the progression.
All right, I'll try. All right.
In the jungle.
A whim away, 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 a whim away.
No, go ahead. You have to go to the result.
Just fucking let me do what I'm doing, and then you come in. It'll work either way.
Or it won't work.
Yeah. A whim away, 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 a whim
way up the wall.
Did you see The Lion King?
I did. I saw the movie finally with my.
Oh, did you see the play?
No.
Yeah, see the play. Actually, I didn't even like it that much. Dude, they say that in The Lion King there's some sort of like.
I think that's just the result of like delirium and then trying to do it, and then he's all hyped up because we did it, and he's like, "Did you see the play? You have to see the play." And I'm like, "No." And he's like, "Oh yeah, I didn't really like it either." And for some reason, that shit just killed me, you know. And we went and we actually saw the play after that. But I mean, like, that shit just fucking killed me. And obviously, we brought people in and did the show. And one of the people that we brought in was our friend Todd. And Todd, I think the last Todd tribute show I played the first time he called in when he didn't know he was on the show.
Right.
Which was just classic. This is the clip we're going to play. It's really funny in theory, but when you listen to it, it's going to fuck you up because I should just play it. But let's just say he's working when I call him. Okay? He's like waiting tables when I call him.
It's weird. I had like a mental image, like a projection of what I thought Todd looked like, but I can't really describe it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Do you really know what I mean?
He looked differently than you expected him to look in the picture, in your mind.
But I can't describe how he looked in my mind, but I had something in my mind.
You got me on a cigarette break. What's up?
Holy shit. What's good?
What's good, y'all?
Todd, it's Chris. What's going on, man? You're on the air.
What's good, Chris?
How much time do you have?
I have like literally 5 minutes. I want to blow my brains out. I hate this job already. Oh my God. Save me, Lord. Save me!
What's going on? What are you doing for work?
I'm like working at this fucking like wannabe Brother Jimmy's like barbecue place. It's kind of like they want to go a little upscale, and we're totally understaffed. And I've been here since 10 a.m. I have been going 90 miles per hour since I got in, and it's a nightmare. It's like too many people, not enough people working here, and I don't know. I'm so overwhelmed. I guess the best word is overwhelmed.
Are you making money?
Not as much as I should be making. I mean, like on a basis, like if it was slower, I'd be making decent money. But for how hard I'm working, I should be making like $500 a day, and I'm not even making close to that.
Are you taking anything to take the edge off?
Oh God, just alcohol at the end of the shift. If I can get a free drink, I'm down with it. But I'm so poor. I can't even. I wish I could. I wish I could, but I can't. I can't right now.
You're back in
to maintain.
You're back in the city now, Todd?
Back in the city, Chris.
Nice, man.
I was supposed to come over there and kick it with you guys tonight because of this stupid job. I am stuck here. I was really looking forward to meeting you.
Yeah, likewise. Well, I just saw your picture for the first time today because Dave shared some shit from like 8 years ago on Facebook.
Aww.
You see how much younger I look 8 years ago?
Yeah, you had more pepper than salt, that's for sure.
Nice. Yeah, if I had hair, I would be all gray. So Dave's maintaining much better than I am.
Yeah. For some reason, better. Todd, I was picturing curly hair. I don't know why.
I used to.
Todd, it's because he's an anti-Semite and he's got problems.
Why am I an anti-Semite?
You just are. Now the Dopey Nation wants to know what the fuck is going on with you.
And Todd, legit, people have emailed us, asked us what's going on. I was at a meeting and someone came up to me and said, "That guy Todd, I need to know more about him."
That's not what she said.
That's not what she said.
You know what she said, Todd? Tell him what she really said.
She actually said I was pulling back a little bit there. She said, "That guy Todd, he's gonna die."
Oh my God. Oh, please.
That guy Todd,
terrible.
He's gonna die.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But she had a big smile, and she really liked what she was really saying.
She was really hoping you were gonna die soon.
Well, I'm not pulling any Chris Cornell's any day soon, so I will say this. I'm not going to say I'm invincible, but at this point in time, I do not think with my lifestyle at this point will kill me, other than the tables that I have might kill me. Not the drugs, just work. I think work might kill me before drugs.
So update the Dopey Nation honestly on your drug taking and drinking at this point.
Slightly drinking, slightly marijuana smoking, Did dope maybe the first couple of days I was back in the city about a month ago, but as clean as a whistle other than that one little side vacation I took when I first got down here. But it's all, as I told you, I think we spoke the other day, Dave, and I told you everything that day it was garbage, and I decided that it's really not worth it for me to like go back into like a habit forming situation with such garbage around, which is like interesting because you keep reading in the paper about how everyone here is dropping like flies from all this fentanyl and this lace shit that's going around, and if it is, I sure as shit don't have connections for it. So
well, you know what's so funny, Todd, that you mentioned that? Is a part of me like is reading all this shit about it, and I'm like, God, I wish that shit was around when I was using it. Right. Did you guys hear about that story today too about those two counselors in Pennsylvania? I saw that they both died in the sober living, right? They both died in a sober living place, and like
they were counselors there.
They were counselors, and they had a picture of their the little setup that one of them had in their room, and like this guy had all these Lucy's and like vape pens and a couple of bags, and they had like a rig like loaded up too, right? Loaded up, unused, because I saw that. I was like, that looks like a real rig full of dope. That's what caught my eye. Yeah, I mean, like, and I will say, I mean, two people that I was like not close with, but associates just from my neighborhood in the last month have literally dropped dead from one guy shot a bag of fentanyl. He's gone. This girl came home from 3 days in Connecticut, found her boyfriend in the embryo position on the floor, like kind of like doubled over on his knees. Like he only did one bag and he's gone. And this was like a drug superhero, if you will. And gone. And then this other guy, just 2 days ago, they found him in a stairwell of his mother's building because his mother kicked him out of the apartment, and they just found him dead in his stairwell. But he was a garbage head. He was like on PCP. He was doing dope, pills.
He was one of the neighborhood PCP guys.
Yeah,
because there's a little PCP crew on the Upper East Side that Todd runs with occasionally. I swear to God,
I smoked my first PCP blunt with this guy, and now he is dead.
So tell us, Todd. Kind of scary. Tell us about PCP. How did it make you feel?
That's the one drug Dave and I haven't done.
It's very tranquilizer-ish. It's like it warps your brain. I'm not really down. It's like, I don't know. I did it maybe like 3 times in total, and like the first time I was kind of bugging out. Second time it was very chill and relaxing, and the third time it was just kind of, it tasted it always tastes disgusting, by the way. It tastes to me like the way dead bodies would smell.
It's formaldehyde.
That helps. Yeah, that's what they say, but I read up on it online, and it doesn't say anything about formaldehyde. So I don't know. It's disgusting. I do not suggest Dopey Nation try PCP. It's disgusting. It will destroy you.
Did you just say you suggest that the Dopey Nation try PCP?
Do not try PCP. It's disgusting.
Now let me ask you this: you have money in your pocket. You're working. And you're smoking weed here and there, and you're drinking here and there. What is going to prevent you from running to Harlem or Brooklyn or the Lower East Side or whatever?
I don't want to die from fentanyl, and as I said, I tried it. I came back. I was all excited to get high, and it let me down. I didn't get high. I wasted my money, and I don't want to have to go back to live with mom and dad again. I think that's the thing that's preventing me mostly from getting back into a habit-forming situation with my good old friend heroin. I know it's hard to believe, but I'm trying very, very hard to stay on the up and up. And I need to go to work every day. And at this place, it's like it's pedal to the metal, man. Like if I show up sick, like I'm not gonna be able to do my job, and they're gonna fire me immediately, and then I'm back to like living with mom and dad again, which is gonna be a nightmare.
Well, what about Puma? Puma hasn't hit you up?
No, Puma has got some serious back problems, and he actually called me up about a week ago and said that he's like in some serious like body pain and blah blah. And how was I doing? And I actually thought he was dead because I hadn't heard from him in ages. But he's not working as far as I know with that stuff. And he was asking, I said, why don't you get some medication to actually help your back? And he's like, I can't because I'm on so much methadone and I don't think I'll feel any of the pain medication they're giving me. And he's in a real bind. He's really fucked. He can't sleep at night because of the pain, and he's fucked. It's
because his dope is garbage. That's why.
I really, it's unless you have fentanyl in your dope at this point in the city, I think it's pretty much going to be garbage. I mean, that's really the reason why I think they keep putting it in there, because you can get a kilo of that for like a fraction of the cost of what a kilo of dope is, and they just put a sprinkle in that shit, and you're fucked.
I'm thinking, Todd, that they must not like cut it and stomp it well enough or something. So like, I think occasionally there's just a bag that must go through that's like really fucking strong. You know, it must be hard for them to cut it right.
I mean, they did the autopsy on that guy that my girlfriend, not my girlfriend, but a friend, that girl that found her boyfriend dead, and the bag, they do like a field test right then and there. When the detectives showed up, they did a field test, and there was no dope in there at all. It was all fentanyl. Oh, no shit. 100% fentanyl. So he dropped dead like pretty much immediately. I mean, this shit is so dangerous. I mean, it's literally. There were stories in the paper about this cop that was just dusting the shit off of his uniform.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, they had to give him a Narcan pen. They had to give him a Narcan.
He inhaled it. Pen. He inhaled a breath of like fentanyl powder. This guy tried to like rub it into his car, like or something, when he got pulled over, and the cop started overdosing and had to be hit with Narcan.
Where is it coming from?
China. Yeah. It is coming from China. You can buy it in the dark web. It is very inexpensive. And it will fucking rock your god. It won't rock your world. You will die. Like literally, fentanyl will kill you. It is so strong and it's so dangerous. I mean, that CVS story I told you guys months ago when I first moved back upstate, where I passed out in the middle of the aisle, like I was shopping, la la la.
You didn't tell us that story, Todd.
I thought I did.
You told us the story about when you went to unemployment and you got so bored waiting for the counselor that you went into the bathroom and got high.
I didn't tell you the CVS story?
Tell it now.
CVS story, very quickly. Give me 5 minutes, dude. I'll be right back in. 5 minutes.
He's going to get fired for being on Dopey. Okay. Fired from dope or fired from Dopey?
Getting fired right now for all right, so I thought I told you this story. All right, so I left the unemployment thing, went home. I forgot to bring my tweezers or some bullshit, and I go to CVS. I ripped whatever, I think I ripped a bag, and then I was fine. I walked into my apartment, go into CVS, and shopping, grabbing this, grabbing that. Next thing I know, I'm on the floor. I wake up, there's like 5 CVS employees all circled around me, all whispering, and I come to, and they're like, "Sir, are you okay?" And I'm like, "What?" And they're like, "Yeah, all the customers said that you were on the floor, so we came over here." And dude, I literally crumpled into a ball, just kind of like the way that guy was found dead in this girl's apartment. I crumpled into a ball, like over my knees, and like I hit my head on the shelf, which I didn't realize until the next day because I had a huge egg on my forehead, and I hit my head falling down, came to, and didn't even know what had happened. Like I literally just passed out while being completely, aware, and then I just, I 20 minutes later I was on the floor, dead to the world. I came to about 5-10 minutes later, thank God, and in a store in my neighborhood, half a block from my apartment, and I can never go back in that store again because I'm so fucking embarrassed. But it literally brought me to my knees, and I didn't know what was going on. It was scary as shit. And I swear to God, I thought I told you guys this story. I can't believe I held back.
Would you think it was? Do you think it was fentanyl?
100%. Because dope, you're awake, you're alive. It gives me energy. This shit, I was shopping, and the next thing I know, I'm passed out on the floor in a ball. So something was definitely up with that shit. And as I said, I was at a meeting for unemployment, and I passed out during the meeting. I mean, that doesn't happen. When you're just on heroin. I mean, fuck.
It can happen on heroin. You can nod out at a meeting on heroin. God. Give me a break.
Not me. I got my shit.
You might be the most deluded person I've ever encountered in my life.
Possibly. But I will tell you this: that shit is no joke. I don't know. The world of dope is ruined because of this fentanyl. It's too strong.
Because the world of dope was so good before fentanyl, right?
I mean, if you want to get high, that's this thing. Like, fentanyl is literally just you're awake, and the next thing you know, you're out or maybe dead. It's like it's not even like a game. It's like you're gonna die. Like it's so strong. You don't know, and you don't know these people. You don't know how they're mixing it. You don't know what the percentage is. I mean, you're getting heroin, and then you're getting fentanyl, which is like 100 times more powerful than like morphine. I mean, that shit it's no joke, man. It's really dangerous.
Yeah, it's all dangerous though. I mean, this stuff, it's really unpredictable. Dangerous. But go save your job. I don't want to see you get fired because you're on Dopey.
Right. Well, I love you guys. I love Dopey Nation. God bless y'all. I'll try to we'll try to get together next time you guys record. I'll try to get the night off or something so I can find me, Chris, and we'll go deeper in depth.
For sure, Todd. It was a pleasure talking.
All right, be in touch. Don't be a fucking stranger.
I won't. I'm here now. I'm here. I'm back. We're gonna make this thing happen.
I know that was a really long clip, but it felt necessary because it's 15 minutes that we have Todd and Chris together, and it makes me, I don't know, it almost, part of me feels guilty for doing this show, like putting out this entertainment that's built on my friend's death, but it wasn't meant to be built on my friend's death. You know what I mean? It was meant to be about the stuff we had been through.
Well, what was so fascinating about that clip that we were talking about, Dave, is that they're talking about the very thing that killed them both. And Todd was, so that was just, that's a really powerful clip. And Todd was talking so much about how scared he was of fentanyl for the majority of it. And that's what I was saying the day before, is that Todd was always he was nervous and worried about stuff a lot, but he would, partake in these dangerous drugs, but he was always like careful. Like Dave said, he would never, shoot up because he was like, I don't like needles.
He would also drink lemon water every day because he thought that and he took CoQ10. Like, I mean, that was his big thing.
He was like a very careful drug addict. So even listening to him talk about fentanyl, like I've never heard that clip before, and he's one of my best friends, and I was listening to it smiling because he would do like lots of research and be like, this article and this thing, and he knew it was so much about fentanyl, and it took his life.
Chris said how he wanted to try it. Like, why wasn't that around when I was using or whatever. It's crazy.
But Todd's also so funny because for two things the funny parts that I was laughing at is, the whole time I'm thinking, Todd, go back to fucking work. Because he's like, I have a 5-minute cigarette break, and he just loved having fun. And that was part, that's the beauty of Todd, is like, what's work? Work did not exist once he started like talking and having fun.
But also so ultimate denial. Like, he lost like 20 waiter jobs in a row. And when he lost this one, he'd be like, what? I was
and
on
he yelled
at
the guy, I'll be right back. I'll be back. Give me 5 more minutes. I bet that was like the owner. He didn't give a shit.
It was a 15-minute clip,
That was so funny. And then, there was another thing that he did that was very interesting. Just so Todd, I can't remember it right now, but that was really interesting on so many levels.
I know it's fucked up, but that was like the darkest. That was a pretty dark place.
I remember
what
Todd was like, help me explain this. He was always like an expert, but like not a very good expert.
He was an idiot, is
right?
what he was.
So when he was explaining like, and you guys like when he was explaining like that it was fentanyl, that he just like fell asleep in the CVS or fell asleep or happened in the unemployment office.
Yeah.
Like, that's because of the fentanyl. It's like, no, well, I don't know, Todd. Like, I'm not sure if that's, but he was a little bit of an expert on things at times. He
was like an armchair expert that knew nothing.
But that was like one of his most endearing,
endearing
qualities.
It was just, the thing about it was, and I want to say this with all reality in it, it's like when Todd would talk about strains of weed and like be able to taste the difference between one or another, that was like a funny, cute thing. But when it's fentanyl and now we're 2 years after his death, it's another thing. And like, anybody who's using can die. We've lost too many people.
And here's the interesting piece. We have two different addicts who died from fentanyl. We have Todd, who we're saying, we're kind of like, joking a little bit about Todd, but that the armchair, or however you described it, Todd wasn't an idiot, but Todd,
I'm an idiot in the nicest way.
Todd was very different than Chris, who we would say was this clinically savvy, smart, textbook smart dude. And it took both their lives. So it really doesn't matter when it comes to that shit, where you're at intellectually or with your drug knowledge or your clinical skills or your street savvy. Like, doesn't matter. None of it matters.
And Dopey obviously would change. This was one of the first times we talk about God on the show, which made me super uncomfortable. And we were talking about drugs, and Chris was very well aware that it was a higher power that would restore him to sanity. So this is where he tries to introduce God on the show, and I'm very uncomfortable with it.
Like, I remember when I had dope in my pocket, it was like I had a secret on me that could solve every problem. That's what it felt like when I had drugs. No matter what it was. If I had pills, if I had weed, I was like, I had the secret in my pocket that's going to take care of everything.
Yeah.
And like when I would talk about like that feeling of knowing that you're going to get well.
Yeah.
Or that instant that you like to talk about where your drugs haven't kicked in, but you're so happy that they're going to.
Yeah.
And this sounds
well, it's because we want to be God. That's us ultimately being like, I can control the way I feel and operate in the universe.
Right.
And it's like we need to become God reliant instead of being reliant on fucking pills and powders and liquids.
Well, that's fine. But I have to say that, like, to have not that worry is so much better than any of that. Like, I feel so free.
Yeah.
And so safe. Like, sometimes I get worried I don't check my mail.
What do you attribute that to?
Sobriety.
And what do you attribute your sobriety to?
I don't want to go on a whole God thing.
It doesn't have to be God. I mean, is it you?
Listen, I do not want to turn this into some pulpit dopey God thing.
Yeah.
My higher, it doesn't
have to be God. I'm saying God's charged word. It can be anything.
I don't want to have this be a God cast.
Yeah.
You think I'm the first person who ever said God cast?
On episode 37, we can mention it for a minute. If it's something that I like, I find that's what keeps me.
What about the phrase God cast?
That's not bad. Or Gotti.
What?
Gotti.
What's that?
G-O-D-Y instead of Dopey.
No, but a Godcast instead of a podcast? Do you think people who do religious podcasts call it the Godcast?
I don't know, but we got to figure out how to beat sermon radio on drugs.
Fuck that. What about Cher?
The Mormon podcast.
There's a million ways to
Cher's doing good stuff, and that sober guy. What about the Mormon podcast? I haven't listened to it. I can't knock it until I listen to it.
You really think Cher and you're happy about it?
I haven't listened to them.
Isn't Cher just Cher singing the old hits? I got you, babe. Whatever. No, God. I don't want to. I mean, listen. Me and God have a situation that's working out for both of us.
Nice.
How's that?
I'm glad it's working out for him, her, it. As well.
We've come to an agreement. So
we've come to an agreement.
Let's just leave it at that.
All right, but that's good. I think this is a good episode.
So Chris had it. I mean, the fucked up thing is that Chris had it all wired in. Todd had none of it wired in. Chris had all of it wired in, and they're
You didn't really either at that point.
What?
Have it wired in.
I didn't have it wired in at all.
And what was cool about that was that Chris got a little defensive. Like, you hear a seriousness in his voice that you know, where he's like, well, at episode 37, I think that it's
okay to talk about
it's okay to start talking about God. And he even said it doesn't have to be God. It can be other things. But he was
fucking tied into his
was
program.
ready to start to say, like, at this point, we need to start incorporating some of this stuff, which is really cool.
But I was resistant. I was resistant to it. I wanted the show. It didn't occur to me. I didn't understand it. Like, I hadn't had enough experience around spirituality in my program or whatever. I wasn't comfortable with it. It made me uncomfortable. Laughs made me comfortable.
Right.
Talking about a Godcast I thought was very clever and funny and was easier to change the subject. Mm-hmm. When in reality, it's something my sponsor says now all the time. He says, and I know that God doesn't make you particularly comfortable, but my sponsor says to me, he says, if you guys talked about God on Dopey, it would get much bigger, much quicker. And it's like, which freaks me out. You know what I mean? Like, the fact of the matter is that every morning I fucking get on my hands and knees in that room right there and I pray to God for help. And
I think it's just the word God.
It's weird.
Is what can make one uncomfortable. And I think that's why Chris quickly said that it could be, other things. But that takes work. That takes
practice.
That takes teaching. You don't just all of a sudden understand what God is or know what you can put in that place to still have the same, higher, just the whole concept of higher power just doesn't come to somebody naturally.
It was at that point in my life, I think I was still living on the Lower East Side. And my sponsor was pretty much an atheist who his God and the God he gave me was a gift of desperation, G-O-D, whatever. And like, I loved that idea and it worked for me then.
I think that's pretty smart.
And it changed over time. I mean, like, that's the craziest thing about this show and maybe why it's so joyful for me to do it, because it's the story of my life. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and maybe that's self-centered, but it's just like, we weren't together. Mm-hmm. Susan wasn't born. We didn't have the house. Chris was alive. Like,
and don't you feel like there's some days where it's easier to channel or access a higher power than others? Because I do think when you're maybe not in a good place, it might be hard to see that one exists.
I don't look at it like that. I look at it totally as a tool that I need to use a higher power to restore me to sanity on a minute-to-minute basis. Like, if we get into a fight and I'm out of my mind, I use a higher power to restore me to sanity.
But the only reason why I'm asking that is because of what happened to Chris. So I wonder, like, what happened for him.
He didn't use the tool. Like, it was
right.
I mean, that's
but something happened for him along the way where he wasn't that. It
was a cascade of wrong moves of like.
But does that mean the higher power or his God is not there anymore?
I don't see it like that.
That's what I've always tried to figure out.
I don't look at a higher power as like the higher. I don't look at the higher power
like it comes and goes.
I don't look at it as it comes and goes.
Right.
I don't look at it that it runs you. I look at it that you either are accessing it or you're not. And Chris stopped accessing it.
Okay. It's always there.
It's always there. It's like I had this incredible. I had this epiphany the other day. I was with my sponsee, and I thought about the idea, and I know this is not your world in terms
I'm open
of
to it.
Is like that in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it says that God is either everything or God is nothing. And it says that half measures avail us nothing, meaning that if you do a little bit, it's not really going to do anything. And then it made me think about like solar panels on houses. And solar panels on houses, like if the sun is shining, the solar panel absorbs the energy and converts it into electricity. And either way, the sun is hitting every house, if it has a solar power or panel or not, but it's not accessing the power. So in somebody who has a higher power, we're all getting a higher power. It's if you're in tune to the frequency and you can access the power as a tool.
Right.
And I was like, whoa. I mean, like, it blew my mind. It's like having a windmill on all day, or not. Like, we have this house that sits in the sun, but we don't access the power of the sun. So if you choose, and I think it's mindfulness that can access that higher power.
Well, do you feel that going to meetings, like Chris said, he was going to 2 meetings a week, and that's kind of the amount of meetings you're going to a week. Do you feel like that is like equivalent to having solar panels?
No, the meetings remind you to keep them on the house.
Okay.
The solar panels are are the prayer or the meditation. It's the daily practice stuff. And I'm only, and the 2 meetings isn't enough. Every other day was right for me. I'm just not doing it because things get in the way and whatever. It's like I'm trying to.
Maybe that is enough. It's okay.
I think every other day is the right amount, but it's about a daily practice of.
But which you can do, not going to a physical meeting. There's lots of things that you can do, I think, to remind yourself of what's important. And
it's prayer and meditation. It's
there's
doing
a lot of
that.
things. So.
Well, for me, it's prayer and meditation, or going to a meeting, or going to a Zoom, or talking to my sponsor, or talking to my sponsee, or reading the book, or whatever. It's those things.
Or just channeling what makes you feel grounded and healthy.
My dad was supposed to come on the show, but he says he's ready to go to sleep, so we should get him on real quick.
Sure.
So we're an hour and a half in, and we're still on episode 37.
What does that mean?
It means you should jump in now while you can. Linda's here. Why don't you say hello to the Dopey Nation and say what 5 years of Dopey means to you?
Am I on right now? Hello, everybody. It's very late. I want to wish everybody good health, and I'm very, very happy for 5 years of the Dopey Nation.
It's the Dopey Podcast, Einstein.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the Dopey Podcast, but it's the Dopey Nation that keeps it going, though, right? Right, David?
Yes, a Dopey Podcast would be nothing without the Dopey Nation. Do you have anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, well... who's there? Linda's there. Who
Hi,
else
Alan. Yeah, Nora just screamed, "Hi, Grandpa Alan." Sorry, Dopey Nation. We're very excited to hear from Grandpa Alan. He's in Florida. We haven't seen him in a while. We miss him.
Yeah, I miss everybody. Anyway, I'm very, very proud of the podcast. I've been reading all of the messages that people send, and I picked one episode that I thought was funny when you had me on where I didn't even know I was on, and I was upset with you. So
we couldn't find that, but we did find the other one. So we'll play. I'm going to play some of the other one until it's excruciating. So hold on. I'm going to give you to Linda. Hold on.
Should I hold it up to my microphone? Yeah. Alan, I'm holding you up to my microphone so you can hear this clip.
Okay. All right.
I want to read my iTunes review of the week. My iTunes review of the week is this one.
You're reading the 1 star?
So this is the stuff that you a bunch of amateurs. This should be ready to go.
I know. We don't plan it out. We have ADD.
Here. This is from May 30th, 2017 from 63A. Who's
yeah, we've already read this.
No, we haven't.
We've read it.
We haven't.
May 17th?
May 30th. She says, or he.
It's a while ago.
She says, after listening to other Dopey/recovery podcast, what does that mean? I've come to realize that this podcast will not last long unless Dave and Chris reformat their presentation, introduce more guests with interesting stories. We are tired of hearing about just you two, especially Dave.
So, Dad, that was your second pick. What do you have to say about that? What does that bring back to you?
That brings back the memory. That's what I said. You guys were a bunch of amateurs, and you didn't know what you were doing. And then you were going to go to this phone voicemail, and you couldn't figure out how to go to the voicemail. Anyway, that was very funny. It really was. And the woman, and whoever gave that advice about putting in other people's stories, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah,
that's exactly where the show went.
Not on this episode, though.
No, just me.
No.
Just Linda and me
Sorry,
and Chris
everyone.
so far, and Todd. We played a very sad one of Todd. But do you have any criticisms for the show of late before you go?
Oh yeah, I think you should stop talking about the sexual exploits of Ray. I think it's enough already.
Yes, I agree.
He lives for that stuff.
No, he doesn't. He's just humoring you.
No, what was the last one? What was the last one where he wanted to talk about the porn he likes, the halfway house porn? I didn't make that up.
Then let him do it, not you. Let him do it. If he wants to talk about it, let him talk about it.
That's what I did do. I let him talk about it.
Well, that's your dad's. Listen, he's allowed to have his feedback.
Yeah. Well, everybody don't realize how much they love Sexual Ray, and we'll get to Sexual Ray soon enough.
Do we have a Sexual Ray clip? I hope
we'll have actual Ray.
Okay. Even better.
Even better. All right, Dad. Thank you for calling in.
Bye, Grandpa Alan. We miss you. Sleep well.
I miss all of you. I love all of you guys. All right. Good night.
All right.
Toodles for Chris.
Now, in the spirit of what my father said, we're going to play from somebody else. And it was actually, there's a woman in the Dopey Nation named Stephanie, and she makes incredible art for the show. She actually organizes all the Dopey Zoom meetings, which is just phenomenal. If you're not in the Dopey Nation Facebook group, every day they have a Dopey Nation Zoom, and they do 12-step Zooms. They do harm reduction Zooms. We do a Zoom. It's pretty incredible. But this woman, Stephanie, got into the show because she heard from this guy who called himself Hot Wheels. In his first voicemail, he called himself Brian. And he sent in this story, a voicemail that me and Chris just fucking loved. And here is the first Hot Wheels voicemail on Dopey.
I really want to play that voicemail we just heard because it was so funny.
Should we play that right now?
Yeah, because this is the reason I want to play it. Is because Phil, God bless you, Phil, is talking about recovery with Dopey.
Yeah.
Bring Dopey to a meeting. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But the voicemail we heard...
It was a little different.
It was a little bit different.
Yeah. This is short, guys. It's
very short.
We have several voice memos we're going to play in this episode.
Yeah, it's just me and Chris and you guys and some voice memos. So, Welcome back to Dopey.
Yes, welcome back to Dopey. Did you watch Welcome Back, Cotter?
I did. You didn't.
No.
But again, like you just said, I'm old. All right, here we go. You ready?
I'm ready.
Hey, Chris. Hey, Dave. I listened to your podcast and you gave me a couple of stories to think of here. Chris was just talking about how long he'd last if somebody put a rig full of coke in front of him. Well, I'm a bona fide heroin addict, and last summer, I had about 97 days clean and was out playing some Pokemon. Then one of my fucking buddies gets off the train and goes, "Hey, you want a bag of dope?" And I immediately go, "Yes." And was in the library shooting it 30 seconds later. So I know exactly what you mean, Chris, about if it's in front of you, not having a chance. I mean, how often does a bag of heroin wind up in front of you? Well, on that day, it did. And you're talking about DMT. Here's a funny-ass story about DMT. Me and my buddy discovered it back in high school. And, we bought some. Because everybody says, man, this one time I was so fucked up, we used to go, oh, yeah? I'd like to pull some DMT out of the wallet. So when that shit ran its course, we had gone to the west side of Chicago to get some heroin. And we all did a rip of DMT. Nobody in the car wanted any more, so we chucked it out the window and it opened your door.
Hold on, let's finish it here.
You do the second one?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, this is Brian again. I just wanted to finish the DMT story. So, we chucked it out the window because nobody wanted our brains exploding anymore talking to God on this shit. A couple days later, I just happened to think about it, man. It looked like a big bag of white powder, like a massive crack rock somebody might have driven over in the street. And I know damn well somebody afflicted picked that shit up, loaded up their glass dick, fired it up, blasted off, and might possibly still be talking to God this day. I don't know. I've often wondered about the person that found a 2-gram bag of DMT on the street, thought it was crack, and got so high, real high, they never came down. Anyways, keep it up, man. Sometimes I can't listen to your shit because it's triggering, but sometimes I need to hear it because it's triggering. Keep up the good fight, man.
That's the one and only Hot Wheels. And he called into the show. I wish I could play every clip. I wish the show could be thousands of hours long. He called into the show triggered, and me and Chris talked him down. And then he called in another time, and he gave his phone number, and Stephanie called him.
Wow.
And he was like, go to a meeting. And like, they're both doing their thing now. And I love those guys. And I never, like, there were fucking nobody listening to the show for years, and now there's thousands of people listening to the show, and it makes me feel really good. But as I've been going through everything, I hear these different ebbs and flows of the show, and the crazy thing to me is that just before Todd died, it was like my favorite run of the show, like where we were doing the show in the way that I wanted to do the show, and it didn't last. And I think some of my favorite episodes, it was me and Chris recording in this house before we moved in,
right,
when there was no furniture in it. And I'm going to play one of those, a couple of those. So yes, you were in the hospital, or you were in the apartment, and the house was empty.
I think I had just given birth.
The house was empty, just with boxes.
Yeah.
And Chris, we got into a bunch of really stupid shit. And I'm a little confused, actually, because I'm not going to play something from that time. But in that time, and in retrospect now, when I listen to those episodes, which were the 130s, Chris might have been high.
That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
It's weird because I was just saying to Dave, it's like Chris and I only met in person once, and it was after Dave had moved Dave had moved to Sayville, and he moved into the apartment with me and Nora from the city, and Chris drove Dave home from the city, dropped you off, and then I was walking down the street with Nora from somewhere, and Chris was leaving to go back to the city and pulled alongside us, and he was like, hey, and he's like, I'm Chris. And I was like, oh, hi. And he's like, nice to see you. And we like had this 5-minute quick, and he was on the other side of the road, like a different direction of traffic, so we didn't even get too close. And we talked for maybe 5 minutes, and I was like, all right, well, have a safe trip back. And that was my only face-to-face with Chris, was him dropping you off at our apartment on Easy Street.
And you guys were walking to the deli, and it was in the early morning because he had slept over at my house, at my dad's house, is what it was. And
so what's weird is Dave just said that the clip he's going to play was from this house we're in now, which we've been in for about 2 years. And I was, I was either in the hospital or I had had a C-section, and I was laid up in that apartment. And so Chris was actually in this house that we're in right now with Dave recording. And I find that to be so surreal.
But this clip is actually a Skype clip, but it was born out of what happened in this house, where Chris supposes to me, would I prefer, and it was a very controversial thing, where he asks me if I would prefer to be raped anally or give a guy head until the guy comes. Okay?
Interesting.
And I chose to give the guy head until he comes. And Chris...
In your mouth?
Yes.
Okay. And that's an important
it was a big debate. And And a bunch of listeners were very offended. And one of the listeners who was offended was this Canadian listener. And I also bashed Canadians in that same episode. Right. And one of the listeners who got offended, who is a stalwart Dopey listener, who is in DopeyCon 2, who's been around for a long time, is a guy called Carneef. And this was me reacting to Carneef's getting upset at us. And it's like this might be my favorite bit on Dopey besides the time that Todd called in. I just didn't want to play the time that Todd called in again because we just played it on the Todd show.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right.
So this is from 2 episodes ago. If you guys don't remember, Dave and I had a lengthy conversation about which would be preferable if you had to choose either anal sex or oral sex, being, taking it in the rear or giving another man a blowjob until he came in your mouth. And I made David pick one of those. And it's funny, actually, at dinner tonight, I recounted that to a group of people, and I brought the same question to everybody.
This is your new party game. Would you prefer to be raped anally or give head until they come?
And there was 4 guys there and 1 woman, and every one of the guys picked the rape, and you picked the butt rape, and you picked the blowjob.
Well, I just think that the guys you hang out with are probably these gym tan laundry guys who think it would be more pleasant to get raped.
Says the dude living in Long Island, gym tan laundry. Like the Long Island in Jersey is like, that's gym tan laundry land.
Listen, I don't know why you're even opening it up like in it doesn't matter where Gym Tan Laundry Land is. I could be the last person in the biggest Guido fucking meat market on the face of the earth, and I'm still not a Gym Tan Laundry guy. I could be fucking in the strip mall in front of a laundromat next to a gym getting a tan and not be a Gym Tan Laundry guy. It's not possible.
If you went to the gym every day and the laundromat and started tanning, you wouldn't be a gym tan laundry person.
No, it's impossible. So I can handle that. I can also handle my choice. I can handle my choice because, I don't know. I mean, and also that wasn't the point of bringing this up. The point of bringing this up is that you offended people. What was the reaction?
First of all, the reaction was extremely positive, including some of our long-term gay listeners. They thought it was really funny and they chimed in and stuff. But this one guy wrote, God, there's fucking mosquitoes in here. This one guy wrote, Canada is, you also bash Canadians, remember?
Oh, for a long time.
And he wrote, Canada is a big country, guys, and homophobia is weird. Dopey is now pretty much unlistenable. I used to consider this podcast part of my recovery. I don't want to believe you're out of material, but if you are, find something other than discussing some shit you know nothing about, getting famous people on the show, and alienating your listeners.
Is he saying that he does? Wait, hold on. Is he saying he doesn't want famous people on the show, or is he saying we should start focusing? He doesn't. Is he saying we should start focusing on getting more famous people on the show?
No, he's saying stop focusing on that.
We've never even had one famous. I mean, Dr. Drew is the closest thing to a famous person. Nick Reiner, so famous. Who's famous?
Modi.
I write a list. I try to get people to come on the show, and I have to write a list of the famous people that come on the show. And it's like nobody's heard of one of them. And I know who this guy is. This is fucking Carneef from Canada. Now,
wait, hold on. Let me finish this thing before you.
It's so annoying.
Okay. Blah 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 blah. If you guys are too busy to do the podcast with diligence, wrap it up. If you decide to keep it going in its current vapid state, no more weird sex shit you have no right to talk about, no more weird xenophobic bashing. If you're unsure about the episode, throw it out. You're okay with throwing them out to protect yourselves. Now put your empathetic practice into effect, my dudes.
My dudes. That's him trying to be friendly at the end of his fucking message. You notice that?
I did notice that. And then I wrote, hey, man, I'm sorry.
I like you, and I hope you like me, too, because I like you, so you'll like me. Love me. Love me.
More or less. More or less. That's what I said.
Write it to him. Read me what you wrote back.
Hey, man, I'm sorry if it came out that way. We definitely don't want to alienate anyone, and neither are we homophobic/dislike Canadians. We were just being stupid.
We're just stupid. We're not Canadian haters or homophobes. We're just idiots. Yes. Everybody loves idiot. It's like this. What do you remember about Carneef?
I remember we got a voice memo from him, right? Or an email. A couple, right?
I think we got both. What I remember, and this is, you know, I think one of my weaknesses, like I've got a lot of weaknesses, a lot of character defects, we could call them, but this isn't one of them. This is just an actual personal weakness where I have a terrible memory. I don't fucking remember anything. Read me his criticism again, please.
The whole thing?
Just give me the bullets.
Canada is a big country, guys, and homophobia. Canada is a big country, guys, and homophobia is weird.
Carneve, I want to read me more of his criticism first.
He says, Dopey is now pretty much unlistenable.
Okay, but stop for a second. Carneve, if Dopey is unlistenable, stop fucking listening. We don't need you, you fucking dick. I don't want to hear your fucking political correct hate mail on my fucking podcast, Facebook shit. All right? We're done with you. Stop listening. That's it.
I'm very nervous on what his reaction is going to be to this.
What?
I think he's going to get upset.
That's fine. No, he shouldn't listen. It's unlistenable. What does he want us to talk about? We have a fun fucking show where we talk about what we want, and we're upsetting the great Carneve up in Canada, whatever the fuck he's doing. The fuck is his problem? It's like we have a stupid show. Let's fucking take it all on the table. We have a stupid show about what we think about being in recovery because we're both heroin addicts in recovery.
Yeah.
Okay? That's our show. We have a nice laugh. You and me hang out. People listen. It's fun. Goodbye. Hello. Blah, blah, blah. Welcome to Dopey. That's it.
I think I just like how I sound in that clip. I loved bashing Canadians in Carneve. And Chris made it safe for me to bash anybody because he was so sweet and I could just be that guy.
Why did you get so triggered by Carneve?
No, I wasn't triggered by Carneve. It was more triggered by Chris being so upset by Carneve.
Right.
Which is ironic because every bad comment now and then triggered me. I think I love this clip because it was the first time that criticism didn't get to me.
Right.
And I loved that. Hearing myself not be triggered or hurt by criticism.
It's a sign of growth.
It was, but I've regressed completely. And the other one, and this might be my all-time favorite clip of the show.
Okay.
I'm going to play it. We talk about advertising on Dopey.
We also had this other story that I think we should bust out before it's over, where the people at our rehab.
Oh yeah,
I don't even know how to tell that story.
Should we tell it for the next time, or
no? Just tell it.
So Dave and I met at this place called Mountainside.
Don't say the name unless they pay us.
I just said it. We met at this place called Mountainside, and they might do ads with us. And Dave had a call with the marketing fucking people, and they wanted examples of ads, and all their examples suck, and they were very business oriented. But if we had more followers,
they said, well, how's your social media?
Why didn't we tell it? You were there. You handled it. I didn't do anything.
It was just so unappealing. It was so bad. Such a terrible call.
You handled it bad? They're professional over there. They're suits.
I don't know why I'm talking about this at all.
You're definitely not going to do it if they listen.
Oh, man.
This is why we can't get advertisers.
I think Mountainside's the best treatment center in the world. Give me $50, please. Send me some fucking cookies. We'll fucking talk about your fucking plate. This fucking, oh my God. Well, I don't really know how to integrate a partnership between our.
You know what's so funny? They asked for examples of ads, right? And so I listened to our last episode where we talked about the I Am Sober app, or a couple episodes before. And literally I'm listening to the ad and I'm like, I was like, it can calculate how much money you saved on drugs. Dave's like, I don't believe it. We're talking against the thing that's paying us to advertise.
You're like, this thing is great. I'm like, have you ever used it? I'm like, you don't even know how it works.
You can't do that.
You can't do that. You can't just count your days. Fucking idiot. That's what we do with every ad. You like take this nice attempt at the ad, and then I get upset that you're people pleasing for the advertisers when really all you're doing is actually advertising.
For me, that's like the purest the show ever got. And it was like, basically, before Chris died, Chris and I, like, it didn't matter how big Dopey... I mean, we both wanted it to get big, but we weren't willing to do anything besides have fun. And that was fine. You know what I mean? And now, like, we have all these ads, and obviously I do, like, this... You know, somebody just wrote me, and they said they think the ads are ruining the show. And if you listen to this bit, I could see why somebody would think that.
Right.
But the difference between doing a show with Chris, where we're just doing what we want, whatever, and me... trying to figure out how to make the show run, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
You know? But...
Well, it's a totally different show.
It's a totally different show.
And that's okay.
But...
You're laughing. Laughing
is so funny.
Priceless.
Because it's like I'm telling Chris about Mountainside,
right.
And then I say, I probably shouldn't be saying any of this at all. And like it was probably like midnight or 12:30, and I just fucking die. You know
delirious,
what I mean? Yeah. And then it just like that was probably the hardest I ever laughed on the show. And it was so funny because it was about monetizing the show, you know, which is like a big struggle now. And that was, I don't know, that was the episode before Todd died or something.
Right.
You know, it was like we were like, and it's like almost like laughing in the face of what's coming, which is very scary and sad. It's just terrifying, really. And then, of course, after, you know, Todd died, and I'm not going to play clips of remembering Todd because it's too much.
Right.
And then we went to visit Artie Lange, and I'm going to play a quick Artie clip.
Artie. We
Yeah.
need a little Artie.
Sure. And I don't know how I didn't know he was fucking high, because when you listen to the clip, it's like, he's crazy. Here, hold on.
You didn't know that he was high?
I didn't know. I didn't know that anybody was high. I think I was just so...
You're just so psyched to have Artie in your, you know...
I think I was just
realm.
so also focused on making the show that I was more in my head about what had to happen for the show than like what else was happening.
And they were both high.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part.
Yes.
you want to end early.
I'm kidding. I'm just saying. Chris knows. It's Chris.
Yes.
Yeah. He is the smart one here because he knows this is no big deal. You're delusional and thinking I'm a big deal, and you've pursued me in a way that has really been a little disconcerting.
To you?
I almost called the FBI. You're a nice guy. You know what? Here's the thing about you. You really, when it gets down to it, it was a bit stalky, but you wanted me on the show. It was flattering. But when you talk to you could tell you are concerned about me. You want me to get better, which is nice, which is very nice.
I want you to do what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? I think that...
Well, don't say that.
No, I honestly do. I want you to do what you want to do.
Let's stop.
Well, except for that. I just want to...
It's great to be here, and I'm happy to be here. I'm just saying you guys are impressive. It's a unique thing that you guys have gotten through that, especially shooting dice. You know, so many people, there's not a lot of stories where you get out of it. My question to you two guys is: how stable does that ground feel that you're on? Like
in terms of drugs,
in terms of how much you fear relapsing and what could happen.
It's how much work you put into it. You know what I mean?
And do you still put a lot of work in it?
I still put a decent amount of work in it, but when I don't, when I start kind of living a little dishonesty and being selfish, those baseline restless, irritable discontent, those feelings come back, and when you feel those things, it's just a matter of time before I go back and pick up.
So you connect using directly to not living like a good person, like dishonesty.
I have to be, honesty, open-mindedness, willingness. It's all 12-step shit, and it's like,
and it's based on Christianity, the book, obviously, but you know,
they try to get rid of the God, they try to get rid of the God piece, or the Christian God.
So it's like two guys super high,
and they're talking over each other
on coke, basically, and Todd had just died, and Artie had met Todd, and when we told Artie at the end that Todd had died,
right,
and he was affected, and then he said this thing, which I don't know, was very meaningful to me when he did this thing.
Stay strong, Dopey Nation.
Stay. The autumn wind is a pirate.
There we go.
Bustling in from sea with a rollicking song, he tramples along, swaggering boisterously. His face is weather-beaten. He wears a crooked sash, with a silver cap upon his head and a blistering black mustache. He growls as he storms the country, a villain big and bold, and the trees all shake and quiver and quake as he robs them of their gold. The autumn wind is a raider, pillaging just for fun. He'll knock you around and upside down and laugh when he's conquered and won. Stay strong, Dopey Nation. Rest in peace, Todd.
There we go.
He sounded so fucked up in every bit until he says, "Rest in peace, Todd." It's like he sobered up to say that.
Yeah.
And always gives me the chills.
Right.
You know, so honored. Like he said, like
and I just love that he busts into like poetry.
Well, it's NFL. It's based on like National Football League poetry, but it's all about the National Football
Is
League.
it?
Yeah.
I thought it was like Robert Frost.
I think it is, but it's all football teams, the Raiders, the whatever else he said. And it's about autumn and winter and football teams. And Artie loves football. But he says that I was delusional in how much I wanted him on the show. And he was too high on the show. It's painful for me to listen to. However, I still have the same feeling about Artie. I believe that Artie is the best guest that we could have on this show. Artie would be just the greatest person to have on this show anytime. I write his manager now I write him every 6 months or something. I just wrote him. He didn't write me back.
I love when he said that you were what did he say, stalkery?
Stalkery, and that he was considering calling the FBI.
Yeah, that makes me laugh. Because you are. We've talked about this.
Yeah, I know.
You're obsessed.
Well, I mean, my Artie obsession has died down.
It's died down. It has.
I do think about going there from time to time. I think about sending him food, but I haven't done any of that. Anyway, it was at this point that we lost Chris. And I just want to play one clip from his last show.
Please.
And then, I don't know. We've said everything we could say about Chris dying on this show, but I think it's worth having a clip of his last show.
Absolutely.
And again, he sounds super high in the clip. And it's just so disturbing. Like the second I hear his voice, I'm disturbed. You know what I mean? It's like, it fucks me up. And also, it's the history of Dopey, the 5th anniversary of Dopey. We're coming up on 2 hours, and Chris isn't dead yet. So, but that's just about what it meant to the show. You know, like him dying, you know, is the skeleton of the show, right? It's the bones of the show. We're coming up on, this is going to be episode 276. He died. We're almost at the point where we have more episodes without him than with him.
Right.
And yet his death is you can't, there's nothing else to say about it, you know? Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
It does.
I had to fly to fucking Houston yesterday.
Yeah, I was going to mention the state. I'm trying to be vague.
I'll bleep it. I had to fly to Texas yesterday.
Don't bleep anything. We got to do all this, you know?
I had to fly to Texas yesterday and then turn around and fly back. It was a lot of traveling. And I even told Dave, I was like, I don't know if I can do Dopey tomorrow night. And then I wasn't going to do it tonight either.
So what made you do it?
Tonight?
Yeah.
We got to get it out there.
Well, you just said you weren't going to do it tonight either.
But it's more important for me to get this out there weekly than my personal feelings.
What are your personal feelings?
That I want to just chill, watch TV, go to bed. And I also knew that if we did this, and despite the fact that we're recording, that I'd feel better.
How about the inverse?
I was feeling miserable. What?
How about the inverse? How about if we didn't do it, what would happen?
Then I'd have to wake up and I'd panic because we didn't release Dopey and we've been on a schedule. All the mouse on the wheel in my brain would start running. As it's
Not
sure
to
it was
mention,
running for you all day.
For me, dude, you would not believe the stuff I have going on. You have no idea. I mean, you've been so far out of the loop. You have no idea the stuff that's going on in my life.
Between like Linda and the house and stuff, or what?
Just, I have a laundry list of stuff to talk about, but we're not going to it yet. Lots of stuff is happening on this end.
And that was, of course, the show was already a day late. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was like middle of the night. We put out the show. It was totally fucked up. Everything was ruined, you know? And he died 2 days later, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, everybody knows the story. And then Annie came on the show. And then I had to figure out how to make the show, you know? And it was a misery, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you said you don't need to make the show anymore. You know, you were like, and
we didn't know what should happen.
Right. But you said you don't have to.
Right.
And I said I do have to, and I thought I was going to do like a 10-minute episode, just to tell everybody what happened. And then Annie came on, and it was like the craziest episode ever because she found him.
Right.
I'm not going to play a clip from that either. After that, we had to start rebuilding. And I think it was very soon after that I started talking to Sam about how to make the show.
How to keep it going.
And
what to do. And
it was after that.
And then it was just you.
Right.
So it was you doing a show alone, you know, and then you started getting guests and, you know, et cetera. But it was, how can you do a show by yourself, essentially, which is a huge change.
But it was at that point that I started to talk to Sam, and I needed somebody to listen to what I was recording,
right,
to run it through them so I could figure out what we had or we didn't have. So then I started playing everything for Sam. And I think we'll bring Sam in now.
Okay, sounds good.
And if anybody doesn't know, Sam is a guy who I met at rehab in Florida who was a TV producer. He had worked on such notable shows as Hercules and Xena. So me running material through Sam felt like a safe bet, and I trusted Sam's opinion. And now on the phone, coming to you from California, is Sam. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Dopey Nation, and happy 5-year anniversary, Dopey Podcast.
That's great, Sam. That's wonderful. What was I going to say? So why don't you describe your what happened at that point for you vis-a-vis Dopey, the Dopey show?
For 142 episodes, you know, I was a listener. And you'd ask me to pipe in. Oh, sorry, I want to say hi to Linda.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Linda. So I was a listener, and you would ask me to do things here and there, and I did, and I was happy to do it. And, you know, and I was just a fan of the show, and it was fun listening to you, my friend, do this show and do it with your friend Chris. And, you know, then he died, and it all changed, and I didn't believe it. And then, you know, I knew you were going to keep going, and then you called me, and, you know, you had me listening to shows, and, you know, and trying to figure out where to go from there alone, you know, with you as a solo host.
So, Sam, if you're going to pick some favorite moments of your era, where are you looking?
Where am I looking? Well, you know, we've done so many together. You know, we've done, you know, 100 plus together. But you know where I go immediately, and you know where.
Well, tell the Dopey Nation.
Well, I got to go to Cat Marnell, just because that was such a pivotal, controversial episode that, for my money, was the gift that kept on giving and continues to keep on giving.
I liked that interview too.
The fucked up thing about it is, like, Cat Marnell was like a meteor smashing into Planet Dopey, and like the fucking tidal wave of you know, discontentment and fucking hatred was crazy. But Sam pulled a clip from Cat Marnell, and I was like, holy shit! I was like, what went wrong? I just figured we'd be friends. It was such a friendly clip. I'm gonna play it right now. And to set it up, basically, we had done a whole interview, and she was a little bit like evasive when talking about recovery and stuff. And then we played the Stash Word game show, and she had fun. And then I had her read an email from a listener, and that's this. Hey, you want to read a sad fan email?
Oh, yeah, I can.
Yeah, read this.
It's in broken English. I don't know where this person's from.
I'll do it.
All right.
Cat, a note from Konstantin Uzlov on your Facebook page. Hey, Dopey. I learned about of late, blah, blah, blah. I'm an IV heroin user. I try to stay away from benzodiazepines because I always get in some shit. Plus, it's the worst detox I ever had. I'm on methadone.
You read it like it's like your book. That's
methadone
good.
maintenance is like Marilyn Monroe, methadone maintenance, double M's.
Yeah.
I'm on methadone maintenance and work as a Havag tech. I just started a new job. This is a long email. And I knew the dope was, I just got home and I knew the dope was weak. Wait, what is he talking about? Next thing I know, so he takes all this dope. Next thing I know, someone's banging on my window. I open my eyes, and it's my counsel from the methadone program. My rig, that's a needle, is on my lap with empty baggies next to me. And I have a huge burn hole on my hoodie. Well, I have a big-ass burn in my stomach right. Like, I dropped so many cigarette cherries.
I did, too.
And it wasn't even on dope. I just did it to myself. Well, maybe I was at the time. But,
you probably were.
Oh, my God. So, wait. So then the counselor... He had over 20 missed calls from his new boss and a text that says, I can stay home from now on. What is the question?
It's not a question. You're supposed to read the email.
Oh.
It's a fan email.
Oh, I thought it was...
There's no question.
Oh,
you're like looking for the question. You're supposed to read the email. This is a dopey listener writing their dopey story. You don't need to know it. Just read it.
Oh, and then, it's really long. And then she hands me her phone, and it's playing a recording. This is about her mom, his mom, and it's the junkie in the kitchen it's him in the kitchen with the plate in his hand, putting food from a fridge, and the plate slips from his hand and breaks on the floor. So for people, those of you who don't know, a big thing with any addicts, alcoholics, anyone, is that your relatives and friends film you to shame you later.
Do they do that to you?
No, but I'm sure they would. I had camera phones and stuff. If I had been around anyone who cared, that's why I always hung around people who were glad I was on drugs. I mean, but especially, you film the person who won't change, and you're like, look what you did.
Become.
Look what you did. You don't remember any of this. That's a very typical thing. So that's what the mom was trying to show him. And
I like you giving the little book report on the email.
It was, and it was and he's like, mind you, the whole time. And so he has this frying pan he's trying to put in the microwave because he's all doped out. His mom's filming him. And he's like, mind you, the whole time I'm nodding out and twisting side to side, front to back. And then he goes, it was really the funniest and most shameful thing I've ever seen me do. And then toodles for Chris, and stay strong, Dopey Nation. Well, I just like to say, Ilya Yesevev, I think you're absolutely terrific. And yeah, that could be a good show, like America's most
fucked up drug stories.
Funniest. But it's not America. Like, it's like America's funniest home videos, but it's like the most horrible, sad, twisted home videos of junkies.
So after she read the email, there was a huge uproar in the Dopey Nation that she said the guy's full name, right? And and of course we just did, so I'm going to have to take out his last name too. And she was hoping that the email was a question for her. That was the thing. And then in reality, I just wanted her to read the email, and the fans got upset. And so Sam wrote the email from the voice of the person Sam wrote the song from the voice of the person who sent the email, right?
That's right. Yeah. And what I thought was so funny about this is that she read it in sort of a sing-songy voice, in sort of a Valley Girl kind of, a funny voice, and literally yada yada, half the email.
Right, she went ba 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 whatever. So here is Sam's song about Cat Marnell.
This is my apology song to Vladimir Putin Jr. I just don't know what I was thinking. It's just that Cat Marnell is so hot. Cat Marnell is so hot. I guess this one really got away from me, especially when she said your whole name, especially when she yada yada your whole email. I don't know what I was thinking. It's just that Cat Marnell is so hot and crazy. Cat Marnell is so hot and crazy.
That was one of my. I think around that time is when I put up the bonus Cat Marnell Patreon defending Cat Marnell to the Dopey Nation and reading like an excerpt from her book. And then I like sat down to watch the Knick game, and I saw I had a voicemail, and that was the voicemail. It was like the greatest thing. So hang in there. I want to play, and this is a little bit out of order, but there were a lot of great things that happened after Chris died. And one of my favorite things that happened was getting Mark Maron on the show. Like, that was like so crazy to me. And of course, he like went off on me that I'm a stalker like Artie did, but I'm going to play it anyway. This was when Maron came on the show. You ready?
Ready.
It's a pretty magical, mystical moment for me, to be honest with you. I told the story on last week's Dopey where and you told the story on WTF.
Lucky you.
Lucky me. And I ran into fucking Mark Maron on Ludlow Street. As he said, I cornered him on the corner. And then I invited him for breakfast, and he said he'd come on Dopey, and it fucking blew me away, and here he is.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think what happened was, like, I was feeling nostalgic, and, there's something about Katz's that has meaning to me. There's something about this neighborhood that has meaning to me, both comedically and historically on some level, as a Jew, as a guy that was, I just come from that. I worked in a deli when I was in college, and Katz, whatever. So you come running out, and you work there, and you have this podcast, but I kind of knew about it because I've been in some sort of Twitter loop with people
that I put you into.
Oh, you put me into that?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, because I tag you all the time.
Well, yeah. So I kind of knew that it was something. I didn't know what it was or who you were or anything. I didn't know Katz's had anything to do with it.
It doesn't. In fact, I used to bleep the word Katz's on Dopey.
Well, whatever the case, like the synchronicity of it, like, because, of my affection for Jews, corned beef, pastrami, deli tradition, the Lower East Side, addiction issues. When he told me you would get me breakfast, I was still on the fence. And then I think after breakfast, I said I might do it, but then you kept annoying me with your, with the junkie hustle. So that was good. You're persistent. You have this horrible mixture of just being Jew pushy and junkie pushy.
Right.
And
it's a rare mixture, right?
Well, it comes in Jewish junkies primarily. And it's not that rare.
That's funny. I like that.
but the double whammy of the Jew hustle and the junkie hustle. But then I thought, well, wait a minute, maybe there's more to it. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's a mitzvah that I'm gonna help this guy out. And then he started tweeting a lot, and I was sort of like, no, fuck, this is really getting annoying because now if I say I can't do it or I bail out on him, then I'm the asshole.
But that's the real junkie hustle right there.
I know what it was.
No,
but I wasn't going to call you out on it.
Well, you kind of did, and
when Maron came on the show, that was like huge highlight for me because he has one of the biggest podcasts in the world. But an even bigger highlight for me was the first time Linda was on the show. Right, Sam?
Yes, I loved Linda's first appearance. I love all of her appearances, but this one was particularly special, I think, to, the Dopey Nation.
Let's turn... What?
And I think, especially, Linda, after you had been, so unsure of Dopey, for all the years, and then to see the support was really cool.
Let's hear it. I'm scared.
And today's a very exciting day in the history of Dopey because my beautiful, what do you call yourself?
Partner.
My beautiful partner, Linda, has decided to come on the podcast. So say hello.
Hello.
How are you, Lynn?
I'm good. I'm a little nervous.
What are you nervous about?
This is
What's different about this than 20 minutes ago?
Well, we're talking to a microphone.
You can ignore the microphone.
As you move it closer.
As I nudge it closer to you. Now, Linda has been somebody who has lived with Dopey without being too engaged with Dopey. She's hated Dopey. She's loved Dopey. She's been impressed with Dopey, annoyed with Dopey. And here you are on the show. So what do you think about all that?
Hooey. Well, I really respect what Dopey is, but it's... where Dopey came from a place that was really hard.
Well, yeah, you want to jump right into that section? The section I want to jump into is, it was 3 years ago in January,
And Linda and I had just reconciled to get back together, but I hadn't told her that I was doing this podcast with Chris. And we were in this diner and having a nice time, and like something good had happened with Dopey. Like I think we had like 50 downloads or something. Something had happened, and I was like all excited.
I think I snooped on your phone. It's probably what happened.
But what do you think you snooped?
I snoop on his phone sometimes because, you know, trust is always a thing. And I think I saw when I looked at his phone, he was in the bathroom, something about some sort of Dopey podcast, and I had no idea about it. So when he came back from the bathroom, I said, well, what's Dopey? And here we are.
No, and she freaked out. You remember? You got very upset because...
Well, I did because I, you know, Dave was talking about me and our story and our life on a podcast. And podcasts are still kind of new in a way. So I didn't really even know exactly what a podcast was. And he, you know, there weren't a lot of people involved in it at that point. Well, him and Chris, and then not a ton of listeners, but... Now
there were like no listeners.
But it still felt a bit, you know, revealing, and I didn't know what to make of it. So I got upset and I said, "Take it down."
And then I called up Chris and I said, "Take it down." And Chris was like, "Really? Do I have to take it down?" And I was like, "You have to take it down." I was like, "Just take it down, take it down." And Chris took it down, and then. I don't remember why you changed your mind about it. Dopey was done. Linda had effectively ended Dopey. You had ended it.
Well, I don't think I ever really changed my mind. I think those beginning episodes were about, you know, our story, and I don't think I felt comfortable with them being shared until kind of recently.
Yeah, because I'm re-releasing them now.
Well, I don't know how much of a choice I have, but you know, I'm okay with it now because now Dopey's a whole different thing.
But I think at the time you had seen the potential in Dopey more than I had when you had, you know, conceded to letting us do it. Mm-hmm. You were like, I think it could be helpful to somebody, and I think that you're giving a voice to it. I just don't. And you said, I just don't want you to tell your stories. Right. And then like. For like 10 episodes, I told stories about like when me and Dave Kennedy snuck into the Knicks game and stories like that just weren't about like risky business. Mm-hmm. And then probably at episode 23, I was like, I have to just tell the stories. So I started telling the stories.
Well, you know, and also because I know that you want the podcast to be like really fun. And that time wasn't fun for me. So that was always the big conflict too, is like I knew... But you're also very good at telling the stories in a funny, fun way. But you know, for me, it was a really horrible time.
But the Dopey
looking back now, I don't know. Some things I still can't laugh at, but there's definitely other things that I can look back now and say that was so crazy, and we can kind of laugh at it. But it took it's taken some time, and that was still pretty fresh.
So what do you make of that, Lynn?
That's great. It's crazy because I haven't listened to that since I listened to it the day after it was put out. So I was saying, how long is that? How long ago was that? I guess like almost 2 years, right?
Yeah, it's the thing that gets me is it's like everything that I did with Chris was super like two fucking pigs in the mud, and then like my friend died and I crawled out of the mud, and we kind of reflect on the mud that once was, right? I mean, it's like it's like the show changed from being in the mud to looking back at the mud is the thing I get from it, you know?
Right. I don't understand what you just said.
What do you think about that, Sam?
Well, I think I get where you're going, but I want to back up a little bit just because it seems to me that it was sort of shady that you didn't tell your partner that you were doing it. And I relate that just because you were you did what you wanted to, you were doing what you wanted to do. You didn't want to get busted. You were early in recovery.
No, but me and Linda had a very shaky relationship at that point.
Well, that's what he's saying.
We weren't really like real partners because we were barely seeing each other. We had made an agreement that we were going to try to be together, but we hadn't been together much. And Dopey had just started, and like I didn't know that Linda and I were going to stick it out at all.
Right, but to piggyback possibly what Sam is saying is that you were talking, and I think that's what I was saying when I was on the episode, is that you were talking about us. You were mentioning my name. You were talking about me. So there's a piece of, you didn't share that with me. You didn't say, right. I'm talking, and podcasts, regardless if they were relatively new or not, you're still broadcasting stories that involve somebody, and I had no idea you were doing that. So
right, it was wrong. It was wrong.
So freaking wrong. Thank you, Sam. He's so wrong.
Yeah. What I take from that though is that David would no way in hell do that now. I think that was just a product of his just being sort of more immature then, and just wanting to do something and not wanting to fuck anything up, and just getting it done under the radar. But I just know that now the sobriety, and that sort of the guy that Dave's become, certainly through the show and then working with him for these over 2 years, he's a different guy.
Well, right, and that's and it's funny because I'll listen to him telling story like the 9/11 story, or he'll tell some of his drug stories now, and that doesn't hit me the same way. Now I can actually listen to it, like there's enough distance and there's so much recovery, and I see who he is and where he's at, that I can actually hear those stories, and I don't know if I'm going to laugh, but I don't have that feeling that I had a couple years ago when we were just, having a new child and and buying a home, and it was like, oh shit, you did that? Like you were fucked up, and it was scary.
Right,
it was like disturbing. Now it's not disturbing.
And what about like just with the, like, what do you make of the trajectory of the show? Like what it was like and what it's become. Like it's totally a different thing. Like it could not. It's like, and it fucks me up a little bit. Like when I do this, because we did spend the majority of the time on the early days, and it's because I think it's hard for me to go back to the early days because there's so much pain around losing my friends. It breaks my fucking heart. And like we keep saying, the show had to change, and the show has to march on. And I think the show needs to feature recovery, and it needs to feature famous people, and it needs to feature Dopey Nation people. And I think, I plan on doing the show until, like I said when Chris died, I'm going to do the show until it sucks or it's not fun anymore.
Right.
And that's my plan. And I want it to be exactly the same as it's always been. But we're not the same. I'm not the same. So the show can't be the same. And that's what it is. And like Ray fell asleep, but like Ray is this great, I was supposed to call him at like 9:30 or something,
well,
it's past midnight and blah blah blah. But like Ray has been this integral part of the show that's offered like a really integral, either way. He's offered a really good like friendly vibe, and all of my friends that have been on the show, Aurora and Jim and Jeremy and like Justin and Peter, like all of those people keep the flame of Dopey alive, which is like chilling. You know what I mean? Feeling like you're safe. You're the most amazing one. Sam's more of a behind the scenes, but obviously he keeps the flame of Dopey burning. Right, Sam? What do you have to say about that?
I appreciate that. Yeah, I do. I don't think a lot of people know what I do, but you and I are talking constantly, probably to Linda's to totally annoy her.
They are always talking. Yes.
Yeah, but we're constantly working on Dopey, and we're thinking about Dopey, and it's definitely a different show now, and it just had to be. Chris died. And this is the first time, for preparing for the 5-year anniversary, that I went back to the shows with Chris. I listened to them in real time as they would come out every week, and I was just a fan, and and it was so funny, and listening to stuff that we were looking for the show, and your relationship with him was phenomenal. You could never replace Chris. Chris can never be replaced in anybody's heart or on the show or anywhere, and certainly for his family and everybody. But but you had to keep going.
Yeah.
And you know what's interesting? As Sam's talking, I was just thinking that it's almost like, don't you both feel like the show now is not that it isn't as fun and satisfying, but don't you feel like it's more work? Like when you and Chris would just sit and like BS for the podcast, it was one thing, but now it's like you guys work, like Sam said, you guys are always talking.
I'm constantly doing
like
research.
I have to say, like you're refining your craft, but it's like it's not just like a BSing fun show anymore, which does still happen, which is great, but it's turned into something that I think requires a little bit more work.
It's a lot more work. It used to be
more work.
Me and Chris would sit down for 4 hours and we'd be done for the month. I'd be done for the month. Now it's like a week is endless work, but it's what it has to be. It's what it has to be. And
but you always say, because I notice how much you work, but you always say that you love it. And I think the minute that Dave stops saying that he loves this, it's done. And that hasn't, if anything, you love it more and more and more because it's growing and changing and evolving, and that's the beauty of it, is that it's different, but you still love what you're doing.
I love it. And I also I see it. I mean, it's like I'm a persistent fucker, and I was persistent using. Like I held on to using forever, and then I was persistent with getting you back. I would not let that go.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't crazy with that. I would not let it go, and I'm persistent with Dopey. I believe and I chase guests like I used to chase drugs.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm like crazy chasing guests, like constantly. If it's like stalking Marin or Artie or just like constantly writing people, and I do it because I love making the show.
You enjoy it.
I love it. But the fucked up thing is that I don't want to play bits. I don't feel like playing bits of interviews. I feel like playing bits of of the really magical stuff. And I think there has been magical stuff since then. I just I miss Chris. You know what I mean? And I miss Todd. And I feel terrible what happened. And I feel like, yes, the 5-year anniversary should encapsulate the show. Yes, I pulled, my big dream thing was when I got to do the scene with Michael Imperioli when I played Christopher and he played the junkie. But I don't really feel like playing it. I listened to it and it was funny, whatever. It was a dream that I got to do it. It was awesome that some of the people that have come on, and I love the Cat Marnell feud, and I love the beef with Vice, and I love the beef with that sober guy and Cher, and that Cher's done. The Cher podcast folded up. Omar's done. Omar's just going to do recovery coaching now. I love all that, and I really believe. I believe that there will be 5 more years of Dopey.
Really?
And I believe that it will get bigger. And I believe that it will.
Sam, me and you have to be here, same time, same place at the 10-year, okay?
Yes, totally. And I'm bucking that Nora is going to learn editing skills so she can be like the associate producer.
She'll be
on the show.
fucking 21. Oh, that just gave me a minor heart attack.
She begs to come on Dopey, and I'm like, you can't, you don't want to. It's like, that's the one thing. It's like people used to pray to have their daughters not get on the pole. I beg to not have my daughter on Dopey. It's like, and she's like, maybe I can inherit Dopey when you stop. And when I say another 5 years, it's because I believe that we will get to where we want to be. I believe that we will get the guests that we'll get maybe not Courtney Love, but I bet we get Jason Mewes this year. I bet Russell Brand comes around soon. I think that hopefully we'll get who we want.
Exciting things are on the horizon.
You think
Dopey.
so? What do you guys say? You think her exciting things are on the horizon?
Of course.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that it's been such a good run, but I think the best is yet to come.
I really agree. I really do. And I think Sam and I would be honest with you because we're both, very involved and takes a lot of our time too.
Right.
So I think we would say, like, listen, and if for me, the passion is there. You are still so passionate, and that's all you need. If you have that, then anything's possible.
Right.
Yeah, as they say in the business, Dave, we're not doing this for our health.
Well,
That's right.
What I'm saying is that, as I always say, like there would be no show without the audience. The Dopey Nation has grown so much, and their involvement is so cool, and their participation and them looking out for each other.
Oh, forget it. That's the best.
Is the best part. I think there's going to be a lot of cool stuff happening this year. If you guys, send in voicemails, send in emails, be a part of the show, because that's the best show. This was just me being self-indulgent and looking back at the past 5 years. And I think I deserve to do that. I think I do.
Of course.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I just wish Ray hadn't fallen asleep.
Yeah, whatever,
That's my
Ray.
fault. That's my fault. Fucking A. And I'm not going to play the Ray clip at Healing Appalachia. I mean, think about it. We did DopeyCon. Like, what an amazing
There's
thing.
so
DopeyCon
much.
2.
This episode isn't this episode already 3 hours? I gotta go to bed.
It's done. Do you want to say goodbye before it's over?
I do. Stay strong and toodles.
Stay strong, Dopey Nation, and toodles for Chris.
Yes. Stay strong, Dopey Nation, and fucking toodles for Chris and everybody. Todd, Colleen, Liam, fucking Dave Marshall, Andrew, Troy, Scott, everybody that you guys know that you've lost. Toodles for them, and keep your fucking heads up.
I want to take a walk around the world. I wonder would it do me any good? Until I get some money in my pocket, then I guess I'll just have to walk around my neighborhood. But I want to be good so bad. Want to be so good, so bad, so bad. I want to be good so bad. Bad desire's all I ever had. And I want to take a ride up in the sky. Watch as aeroplanes just pass me by. And I want to see a Lear jetliner take a dive, just to show all of these people what it means to be alive. But I want to be good so bad. Want to be so good, so bad, so bad. I want to be good so bad. Bad desire's all I ever had. And my shadow's getting smaller and smaller. And it's time to where I stand. Shadow's getting smaller and smaller. And it's high noon where I stand. And I wonder would they pay it any mind when I leave this busted city far behind. I'll take the high road, however far it winds, because peace and love are very, very, very hard to find. And I want to be good so bad. Want to be good so bad, so bad. I want to be good so bad. Bad desire's all I ever had. Damn it, all these suckers make me mad. And it's all I ever had. And it's all I ever had. And these suckers make me mad, and I want to call my dad. And it's all I ever had. 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 And these suckers make me mad, and it's all I ever had. And I want to call my dad. And it's all I ever had. And it's all I ever had. And it's all I ever had. Want to be good so bad, so bad. I want to be good so bad. Bad desire's all I ever had. Damn it, all these suckers make me mad. And it's all I ever had. And it's all I ever had. And these suckers make me mad, and I want to call my dad. And it's all I ever had. 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 And these suckers make me mad, and it's all I ever had. And I want to call my dad. And it's all I ever had. And it's all I ever had. And it's all I ever had.